What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to the show, guys. All right, live stream. Hey, listen up, guys. Mike's got some stuff to do. He's going to be out and away, so he's got some family coming in. You know, they're checking out his new house, guys, and then the other issue we got going on here is like Reese is got some stuff going down. Reese said he's going to try to get on, but if he can, he can't, guys. So I'm here. I still want to make sure you guys had some kind of content here, guys. So, hey, I don't know how long I'm going to go tonight, but I'm going to make sure you guys at least get some kind of content. All right. So the reason I'm going live today, the topic I wanted to discuss is Deuce Staley had some fairly interesting comments in regards to Miles Sanders. One of the things that really stuck out of my head is it's just the descriptions, the words used, right? The way that they use certain descriptive terms. So it's like he's excited about Miles Sanders, right? He said things along the lines of not only just being excited about Miles Sanders, but he said that Miles Sanders is going to be like he's going to have big plans for him in the offense. He called him a workhorse back, and then also said he doesn't feel he needs to limit Miles Sanders' touches. So, I mean, look, that's not exactly what I would have expected to, have had reported coming out of, from Deuce Staley. But that's an interesting choice of words. And I got to tell you, I'm really glad we haven't drafted our fantasy teams yet, because that's a pretty good piece of information to have at hand to know that Deuce Staley envisions a very large role for Miles Sanders and envisions him as not only a workhorse back, but is just flat out, rejecting the notion that you need to limit Miles Sanders' touches. So that's really, really interesting, man. Look, I thought that was pretty big news. Now, I thought his defense of why he thought Miles Sanders doesn't need to limit his touches is, yeah, it's a little suspect, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a little suspect here. He's basically, the way he said it is that Miles Sanders is pretty good at avoiding contact. When you have a guy that's elusive and can avoid contact, you don't need to worry so much about the snap count. I don't agree with that, but I do think you can make a more nuanced argument in regards to why Miles Sanders could possibly be a guy that maybe you're not as concerned with being a workhorse back. And to me, when I think of workhorse backs, generally speaking, I think of guys that are more north to south runners, right? They're one cut, one gap running backs. In addition to being one gap, one cut running backs, the other thing that comes to my mind when I think of a one gap running back that's like a workhorse, that feature type of back is, generally speaking, guys, you're going to see them face 8-man boxes. Like that would be a pretty common pattern. It doesn't mean they have to be necessarily in 8-man boxes, but they're going to be in the upper half of the league when it comes to facing those 8-man boxes. And I kind of get where Deuce is going with this, because if you look, so guys, if we take a look at Miles Sanders' rate of facing 8-man boxes, he didn't face a lot of them. And I'll show you that, guys. I'll go ahead and do a share screen, and I'll give you guys that information so you can see it. And then we can talk a little bit about the relevancy of something like this. And might Deuce Staley be pointing out something that would be really easy to have kind of go under the radar, but at the same time, it does make some sense. So let me go to the stats, guys, on this. I'll go to rushing, and I'll filter for you guys. So when we filter by rushing, if you want 8-man boxes, guys, you want to go to this 8+ D%. That's 8+ defenders in the box. Sometimes you got to go up, sometimes you got to go down. So you can see right here, it's going with the top. Tevin Coleman faced the most 8-man boxes in the league last year, but he only had 137 rushing attempts. Okay, so take that with a grain of salt. I think you'd have to go down to Derrick Henry, who's at 300 attempts, to get a real feel for guys that are facing a lot of 8-man boxes. I think that's mostly due to San Francisco's scheme for Tevin Coleman. But if you go all the way down to the bottom of this list, okay, you got Devin Singletary facing the least amount of 8-man boxes in the league, 2.93%. Okay, you going up here. I'm sorry, 5.3%. My bad, guys. If you come on up here to Miles Sanders, you got Miles Sanders at 11.73. So if you look at that, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's ninth in the league. Okay. And out of these guys, not all of them have a lot of attempts, guys. You got LaShawn McCoy, barely had 100 attempts. You got Damian Williams, barely, had 111. You got David Johnson with only 94. So you could make the argument that he's really lower down on that list than it appears. But nonetheless, the fact still remains. What we got here is Deuce Staley saying because this kid can elude contact, he can then therefore be a workhorse back. He's not concerned about limiting his handoffs. And I can see some validity to what Deuce is saying in terms of the amount of 8-man boxes Miles Sanders is playing. Because if teams are going to play 8 in a box against Miles Sanders, he's going to be able to be a workhorse for us. Now, I do think that the more you see teams creep down players and they play more 8-man in a box, then I think that argument that is being presented by Deuce Staley, I think that becomes a little more suspect. Like it needs a little more nuance, a little more explanation, in my opinion. But I want to show you guys something else when I talk about, this topic here. And as I'm discussing the probabilities here, guys, about the running game, if you go to efficiency, okay, efficiency is right here. What efficiency means, guys, and I'll filter it for you. Efficiency means that it's filtered from the least to the highest right now. The lower your efficiency number is, guys, that means the more north to south you are. So what it measures is the amount of yards in the travel you generally travel between running plays, okay? So you can see a guy like Gus Edwards from Baltimore was a really north to south runner, right? Mark Ingram from Baltimore, really north to south runner. Derrick Henry, really north to south runner. Christian McCaffrey, surprisingly, really north and south runner. You got Tony Pollard from the Cowboys, Raheem Mostert from the 49ers, Ezekiel Elliott, and then you got Jordan Howard. Those names probably wouldn't surprise us, right? We know that most of those guys, I'm not too sure any of us would be surprised with that statistic knowing those guys. What I do think is a little, surprising is if you just asked, 50 people randomly on the street, they probably wouldn't take a guess that Miles Sanders is in the middle of the pack. So if you come down into the bottom, the guys that are clearly going more towards the outsides, they're not running so much in the middle. They're not going north and south. You got Devontae Freeman, Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, Austin Eckler, Royce Freeman, Tevin Coleman, DeAndre Washington, David Johnson, Sony Michel, and Dalvin Cook. Those guys were a little more east and west than north and south. What I want to do is I want to keep scrolling up. And you guys can see how far I'm scrolling up before I finally reach Miles Sanders, who was more of a north and south runner by a very slight margin, guys, on average than Chris Carson. Miles has some really intriguing stats here. They weren't playing a lot of, they weren't playing a whole lot, guys. They were not playing a whole lot of 8-man defenders on Miles Sanders. But surprisingly, he was a fairly north and south runner, which, that's kind of cool, guys. That's a really interesting stat. It's not a stat I would venture into guessing that I would have necessarily gotten right without somebody saying that. Someone really kind of be like, no, Steve, you got to look at this. I would have never probably guessed it. You know what I mean? One more stat I want to go into, guys, and then we can open up some discussion stuff here. When we talk about Miles Sanders, the last stat I want to kind of give you guys here, hopefully my screen is still sharing for you guys. I want to talk about the TLOS. This is time spent behind the line of scrimmage. Time behind the line of scrimmage, TLOS, okay? So let's filter that number. So now it's going from least to the greatest. So Jamal Williams of Green Bay having the least amount of time spent behind the line of scrimmage, right? Then Gus Edwards, Frank Gore, Ronald Jones, Latavius Murray, Josh Jacobs, Peyton Barber, Bo Scarborough, Sony Michel, Christian McCaffrey, so forth, right? Now, if you go all the way down to the bottom, okay, look at who we got here, guys. Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, Marlon Mack, Philip Lindsay, Matt Breida, Nick Chubb, Todd Gurley, Miles Sanders, Devin Singletary, Devontae Freeman. Clearly Jordan Howard rubbed off a little bit on Miles Sanders, okay? We know this because anyone who really watches film on the Eagles, and you guys know this, I pointed out to you before, and some of you guys even, I think, really started kind of like, yo, Gabe, some of you guys pointed out to me, why is he standing so far back there? Miles Sanders really started following the Jordan, Howard model of being about 5-6 yards deep on handoffs. And it gives him time to not have to dance so much, right? So it's allowing that line to open the holes. So that way, by the time he gets up on the line of scrimmage, he's ready to pick a hole and get through it. So we got a guy that's not facing a lot of 8-man boxes. Look, he's middle of the road when it comes to north and south or east and west. He can do it both. And look, he's patient back there. I mean, he's got a system in place that makes him patient behind the line of scrimmage. When you combine all these things together, guys, I kind of get, like, I get where Deuce Staley was going, that this kid could probably be a workhorse back. That one definitely, like, shocked me. That one shocked me a little bit. All right, guys. I got another topic I want to get into, but I just want to read some comments real quick, guys. Say what's up to everybody, and then we'll keep going. Bob Swain, what's going on, bro? I hope there's a season, man. Eagle season, what's good, man? Cardboard Carolina, what's up, LJ? How you doing, bro? Doing good out there, man? Kevin Cronin, what's good, man? Chris Philly, what's going on, buddy? Jalen Williams, what's up, man? What up, Rock the Artist? Bloody Shot HVAC 22, what's good, bro? Chris Kaufman Jr., what's going on, buddy? Chaos, the Filthy, what's good, bro? And Murph the Kenzo, what's good, my guy? All right, guys, first off, I want to shout out my guy, Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams is not only a member of the Cerebral community, he's not only a community member now, he was the first community member, if you will. He established that community membership. So I want to thank and I want to shout out Jalen Williams. And then also, Show Enough, appreciate you, bro. Show Enough is also a community member. I really do appreciate that. Guys, if you're interested in being community members, you just got to go to the join button, okay? Go to the join button. You ain't got to do it right now, guys, but you can look through and you'll see all the different levels I offer. I have 4 separate levels, and they offer drastically different things. Guys, I have things such as advanced analytics for you guys that'll come out every month. I'll give you a file with some kind of description to what you're looking at. That's one of the tiers. I got, private videos for certain channel members, private entrance into the Battlebirds podcast Facebook page for some. We got one-on-one mentoring and coaching for my young guys out there that might want me to look at film. I will do that for you. That's the higher tier. It's going to cost you a little more, but I still think it's an incredible deal, guys. Take a look at it, guys. Tell me what you think, guys. If there's something you desperately want that I'm not offering, hit me up and say, Gate, nobody is offering this stuff on their subscriptions. Like, I want this in a subscription. Let me know if I can legally do it, guys. There's some things I can't do. You can't stream games for obviously legal reasons, but there are a lot of things that we just don't know you guys want. So if you tell us what you want, we'll structure it for you. And I'll make sure I get in all the content creators' ears that I have the privilege of having their ear, and I'll let them know. All right, guys. So last topic, Anthony Ater, what's good, bro? Appreciate you, man. Cowboys X Factor, what's good, man? Renee Bowler, what's good, bro? So I want to talk about what else Deuce Staley said. Did you guys catch what he said about Michael Warren? Oh, my bad, or gals. I'm sorry. What's up, guys and gals? My bad. Guys, sometimes I don't actually look at the pictures. I'm just reading the screen stuff. So he said something really interesting about Mike Warren. And as soon as I heard it, like, I was only like passively listening to the press conference. I was writing down stuff. I'm preparing the next Battlebirds podcast, guys, that'll be out on Monday. iTunes, Stitcher, so forth, Spotify, you guys know, everywhere. I was preparing my notes because we're doing a top 10 running back list, guys. And I'm like listening to Deuce Staley's conference. I'm taking down notes. I'm trying to put together my top 10 list. And then I heard him talk about Mike Warren. I was like, wait a minute. What did I just hear? So I had to rewind it back. Deuce Staley sent out some really, really high praise for Michael Warren. And, going into training camp, guys, I always said I thought Mike Warren had a shot, but I thought the edge would go to Elijah Holyfield if we were going to keep one of those 2 young contact bounce backs, because I thought Elijah Holyfield had already been kind of pulled out of the Carolina Panthers organization. And on top of that, he's had a little more experience in this Eagles system. And with this altered, offseason stuff, I just felt like he would have, he would have a leg up. But then when I heard Deuce Staley come out and say, like, hey, I'm high on this kid, Michael Warren. And he was like, look, I've watched this kid's film, not just last year. I've watched a couple of years of film. And this kid has what it takes to be an NFL player. That perked my ears, guys. That was really high praise for an undrafted rookie free agent. And in this conversation, and when we're talking about things like, Miles Sanders, right? And Miles Sanders being a workhorse back, right? A guy you don't need to limit his handoffs. Well, my counter to that would be is you better be certain you got a guy behind Miles Sanders where if he's exposed to injury, you got someone who can come in and handle the bulk load of carries. Now I know some of us could definitely probably argue and say Boston Scott could really be that guy. I think Boston Scott could be that guy, but I don't think that that's his best placement. I think Boston Scott is especially good as being the change of pace kind of guy that catches you off guard. He's got the capabilities. And if it was like a one game thing, I'd be comfortable with Miles Sanders goes down for a game. I'd be comfortable with Boston Scott. But if something happened and it really took somebody down, like, 4 games, 3 or 4 games, then I would have concerns. And my thought process has always been, and I got to give credit this one to Reese, Philly Fresh guy. Philly Fresh said it too. Like, more than likely, if you go down, you're going to look at a contact balance back to carry your load. You're going to look at a guy like Michael Warren. You're going to look at a guy like Elijah Holyfield. Those guys would likely be the people that would fill into those roles. And then you have Boston Scott kind of being a change of pace guy that can also, he can run between the tackles too. I mean, Boston Scott's a little better than I think a lot of people give him credit for. It was just interesting to me because I didn't hear a lot of praise about Corey Clement, but let's be real, I could have just missed the praise. I may have just missed it. I don't know, guys. I would warn you to go back and watch it because I was passively listening. But I didn't hear a lot of praise about Corey Clement. And Corey Clement's been in the system for a lot of years. I heard nothing about Corey Clement. He didn't really, from what I can remember, guys, I didn't remember him mentioning Elijah Holyfield really. But I distinctively heard the stuff about Miles Sanders, and I clearly heard what he said about Michael Warren. And that makes me think that if I had to take a wild guess right now, my gut instinct says I would look out for it being Miles Sanders, okay, clearly Boston Scott. And I'm starting to wonder if Michael Warren doesn't have a leg up that we're not seeing, guys. I didn't project him. I said he has a shot. I mean, I'll give myself credit for saying this kid's not just like going to yield the position. He's got a legitimate shot at making the team. But I certainly wouldn't have called him a favorite to be RB3 or RB4. That shocked me a little bit, man. It definitely shocked me. Philly Talk Podcast. What's up, Mike? Hey, man, enjoy time with your family, man. It's all good. You just got a new house. You got family coming over. They want to see it, man. It's understandable, man. No worries, man. Will Shannon, what's good, man? I appreciate it, buddy. Drew, what's going on, buddy? Oh, Murph, cool, man. I appreciate you stopping in, buddy. Birds fan 1717, what's going on, man? So, I was shocked. I was really and honestly shocked, guys, that Michael Warren was spoken of so highly. It's not that I don't believe in Michael Warren's talent. It just shocked me that the Eagles were that high, like Deuce Staley in particular. And Deuce Staley is going to have a pretty big say on who makes this roster at running back. The fact that he came out and said that, it definitely made me go like, oh, okay, like, maybe I need to go back and really watch more film of Michael Warren because sometimes, guys, I'll admit, sometimes I only have time to watch 2 or 3 games. I try to look at a game, but, I'll go through and I'll look at their statistics. I'll see what games look like they were shining, and I'll look at what games look like they were struggling, and I'll try to make an assessment of what I can see based upon those 2 or 3 games. It's really hard to watch, film on like 25 games. Like, I would need a tremendous amount of time. But now it's making me really, really kind of understand that I might need to go back and watch more on Michael Warren because I might have missed something, guys. And I thought I did a really good job of breaking down Michael Warren, but I'm starting to wonder if I missed something there. Because for Deuce to come out and speak that highly of him, it does make me think that I might have definitely missed something. And, I'm one of the guys that I like it if I miss something because that means you're learning something, guys. I'm always about trying to learn something. Like, seriously, I walk around all day with a notepad trying to find out stuff, guys. Looking into stuff. That's why I offered that advanced analytics stuff, guys, because there's so much stuff I don't include in videos that I have recorded that I might use in later videos, but that might not get around to some of those stats that I have for, a year or so. So that's why I was offering it for every month. I'll give you the context of what I saw, why I was looking for it, what it tells me about that player, and then maybe even give you a little summary of why I didn't potentially use it at that point. All right, Jalen, what's good, buddy? Let me see what we got here, man. Jack Mater, what is good, man? It's been a long time, buddy. Glad to have you back. Said, I'd like to keep an eye out for Bo Scarborough. He is that power contact back. He also looks good when he has the main ball carrier last year towards the end. Yeah, definitely a north to south runner. Bo Scarborough was a contact bounce back guy. He makes a lot of sense. I was just a little shocked, Jalen, at just how high Deuce Staley was on Michael Warren. Now, could it? They could be playing games though, too, guys. I mean, sometimes coaches play games. It's possible they're just messing with us and they're maybe not trying to tip their hand on something. But he really did speak. He spoke highly of him, man. I mean, it was pretty eye opening to see Deuce speak on him because he really spoke highly of Michael Warren. What's up, Takeem Hilton? He said, I've been saying Michael Warren can easily be the third running back on this team. Michael Warren is underrated. Yeah, he was definitely underrated coming out of college. He was very productive, Takeem, in college. I mean, that part I caught. Like, it was super productive for a few years. This isn't like a 1 year sample size with Michael Warren. Like, he was definitely productive. I was just shocked at just how much praise was given to him. I was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Like, that's interesting. Jack says, so it was announced AB will have a 8-game suspension. What do you think of the Eagles signing him? Oof, Jack. Look, AB is incredibly talented. I would never be disingenuous and say to people that he could not help the Philadelphia Eagles in terms of his ability to play the game as a wide receiver, in terms of his ability to be a go-to guy, right? To draw number one coverage, to even draw double coverage. Absolutely, he would help the team. The problem I have with AB is that I would have to see something that tells me he has worked on his mental state and his mental health. I'd have to see that. Like, he had a standoff with the police. That scares me, man. Like, I would have to see that first. I'm not saying a no to that. I'm saying we need to see where that young man's mental state is. All right, guys, let me go back up. Someone said I missed their comment. Oh, okay. Will Shannon said, how do I rebuke a Cowboys fan that tells me the stats I use to prove Carson is better than Dak are nitpicked? And by the way, I get the stats from your videos. Dude, they're trying to duck the situation. So this is what you ask them, Will. The next time that a Cowboy fan challenges you about Carson Wentz versus Dak Prescott, what stat are they always going to fall back on, Will? They're going to name the stat that Dak is what? 5-3 versus the Eagles. And all you need to say to them, Will, is that's a team statistic. Prove to me that Dak Prescott won those 5 games. Because here's the stat line for Dak in those 5 games. He didn't play well in those 8 games, I should say. Because he played 8 games against the Eagles. But he didn't play well, guys. I mean, I'm just going to be upfront and honest about it. I'm flipping to it, guys. Give me 1 second, and I'll pull it out for you. So, head-to-head competition, right? Dak Prescott versus the Eagles, 5-3, right? 3 out of those 8 games, he had a 90-plus passer rating, okay? Passer rating above a 90, which means he played really well in 3 games, all right? In 4 out of 8 games, so 50% of those games, he had a passer rating above an 80, meaning he either played good or he played, at least decent in half of the football games. Here's the problem with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys fans' omission of things. In 4 out of those 8 games, 50% of the games, he had a passer rating below an 80, okay? In 3 out of those 8 games, it was a passer rating below a 70. Guys, that's highly inconsistent. Dak Prescott was not shining in those football games against the Eagles. But when you compare that to the way Carson played, because you can't sit there and name a team stat like a win and say that one player has outplayed another. That's not the way that works. It tells you nothing about the individual performance of a player. When we look at Carson's number in that same exact games, okay, which he only played 7 games. He did miss 1 game, and that was the end of the year. And he would have missed that game whether he was injured or not because we had already wrapped up home field advantage. He's 3-4, okay, the team record is. But in 6 out of those 7 games, Carson Wentz has a passer rating above a 90. 6 out of 7 games, he's played well to an extent. Okay, there's always nuance to this. But from an impartial source that rates quarterback play, he has outplayed Dak Prescott clearly in those head-to-head games. In 7 out of all 7 games, he's had a passer rating above an 80 against the Cowboys. Carson Wentz, according to a group of independent, non-biased analysts, has never thrown an egg against Dallas. However, Dak Prescott has been 50-50 on laying that egg thing when he plays the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, there are a lot of stats we can get into, guys. You can talk about Dak Prescott's record against playoff teams, right? You can talk about his, they always say, like, okay, Dak Prescott threw for almost 5,000 yards. Okay, he had 7 games where he threw for over 300 yards. They were 3-4 in those games, okay? 3-4. Care to guess what 3 teams they beat? Week 1, the Giants. Come on, okay? Then he won a game against the Detroit Lions, passing for over 300 yards. And then he won a game in Week 17 against the Redskins, passing for over 300 yards. It's trash time, man. It's trash time. Anyone who really digs into the numbers can see that Dak Prescott is padding his numbers, okay? Against top 10 defenses, right? When you look at DVOA defenses, right? So defenses adjusted for. When Dak Prescott played the top 10 DVOA defenses, he was 0-5 with a passer rating of like a 55.3 passer, 8 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, okay? When you look at Carson Wentz against those same top 10 defenses, those DVOA defenses, he was 3-2, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception with a 72.9 passer rating. They can say all they want to about Dak, and they can say you're nitpicking. I would respond back and say, I'm not nitpicking. I'm proving a point to you that Dak can't play in games when it matters. He cannot live up to head-to-head competition against his greatest rival, the Eagles. And he has faltered against top defenses and playoff teams. And generally, he's been up and down against winning teams in general. So that's how I would personally present the information. But you can hit me up in a private message, man, and I'll walk you through everything. All right, guys, let me catch up to everybody, man. I'm sorry, I missed like a million questions. People have been saying Corey Clement looks good, strong, and healthy. Jack, I hope so. I'm a little surprised I didn't hear anything about Corey Clement from Deuce Staley. But like I said, Jack, I could have missed it. He may have said a bunch of stuff, and I didn't hear it because I was so caught up in like looking over stuff that I missed it. Because I was really caught up in trying to make my top 10 running back list. AB is a nutcase and me guy. He has a lot of work to do, but Philly might be good for him. Maybe, man. We got to see where his mental state is, but I'm not going to deny the talent. He's a heck of a talent, man. Larry Phillips, what's good, buddy? Thank you, man. I appreciate that, Larry. Chris said AB is Owens 2.0, only more crazy. Yeah, but at least Terrell Owens never did the crazy stuff off the field. Now, Terrell did have one kind of scare. I do remember that kind of like weird thing where people thought he might have been trying to commit suicide. It turned out he wasn't, but Terrell Owens, for the most part, hasn't really been too big of a deal off the field. That was just a crazy crap that happened with McNabb, and it went sideways, of course. But yeah, I know. I understand what you're saying. Anthony Perry, what's good, buddy? Yeah, exactly, Jack. Dak has to have his A-list players or he can't play. Absolutely. Jack said Carson can carry a team. Dak needs a team around him, 100%. Dude is 46 and didn't make the playoffs. How? Yeah, exactly, man. So a little bit about that list, guys. So Anthony, he did make 46. You're right. Carson was off the top 100, but it might help if we understood the context of how they made the list. So Mike clued me into this. They made that list. The players voted on that list back in November, and I believe it was before Thanksgiving they voted on that list. So that was before Carson Wentz took a team of practice squad players and clinched the division and got them into a playoff game, okay? And that was also before Dak Prescott and the Cowboys fell on their faces. I got a feeling had they waited till the end of the season, no way Wentz is not inside the top 100. No way Dak Prescott is even sniffing the top 50. I think Dak would be down around 85 or lower. But I think that had a lot to do with it was the timing of when they took the vote. And plus, the players only get to vote on 20. They only get 20 picks. And a lot of them only write down a couple of guys they're friends with, and they hand it off to their media department. And then their media department fills it in for them, basically. Yeah, a lot of guys are kind of chiming in. Dak builds it in garbage time. What's up, Lawrence James? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, McNabb and T.O. thing was, yeah. Ugh. Question, Coach. The running backs can't do jack unless the O-line is on point. How good would the O-line be this year? Drew, that's really hard to say. So here's the thing. I think if you put a guy in like Matt Pryor, I think if you put a guy in like Jason Peters, even at guard, I think those, you got Matt Pryor, you got Jason Peters. I think Andre was surprisingly better in the running game than people thought. I'm not going to say that he's great. He did a lot better than people thought. Lane Johnson knows how to run block, no doubt about it. Jason Kelsey can do his job. I think we'll still be pretty good in the running game. I think it has to do more so, can we scheme the running game correctly? That's what I'm looking for. Can we do some interesting things like we did against Buffalo with 2-back sets? Things like that. I mean, I would love to see that kind of stuff. Will Shannon, you can hit me up on Instagram. I'm not creative, man. Just look either Hyder Steven, Hyder Steve, or Steve Hyder. Look at Instagram. You can hit me up on Facebook. You can hit me up on Twitter. You can hit me up on any of those guys and private message me. I don't block private messages. I heard Deuce got love for Killins and Warren. I didn't hear about the Killins thing, Anthony, but I'm really curious to see what they do, man. I'm really curious there. Jack Matter said Matt Pryor is underrated. Man, he's a bulldozer when it comes to running games. He's physical. He'll get after dudes. Matt Pryor is he likes playing physically down in the trenches. Yeah, I think a lot of us are pretty high on Pryor. Guys, I know I get credit for this because I said that I felt like Jason Peters would be signed back to play right guard. But in that statement I made in that video, I did say that I did feel like the better move would be to move, Matt Pryor to right guard, Jason Peters to left guard, and let Isaac Suamalu spend the season as that swing guard, okay, and then learning the center position. Because now you got Driscoll and you got Suamalu who can step in and play guard if you need it. And you got both of those guys that could be learning from Kelsey at the center position. Because that's probably who's going to be. It'd be between those two guys more than likely to be our center. And of course, we have the undrafted rookie free agent who has an outside shot, but Luke Jurga. But I mean, that's where I would, that's where I would look at it. Yeah, Chris was saying, yeah, if voting took place in March, that list would be much different with Wentz coming in at around 13 through 20. Yeah, I don't know where they would have put him, Chris, but no way he's not off. No way he falls below the top 100. Like, come on. Yeah, me too, Jack. I like when guys are underrated. I'm just hoping it motivates them. My thing is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, like, as long as it motivates Wentz, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, cool. They didn't put him in the top 100. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, just go out there and ball out on them. Ball out on them. And then next year, all of a sudden, you'll be top 10. That's all you can really do. You know what I mean? Jack said Carson and Alshon, a lot of this team is hungry and have chips on their shoulder. I got the same feeling about this team, Jack. I would not be surprised if that fuels us to make a run, especially Carson, because he has been so disrespected due to the fluke of the injuries and stuff. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, right? That Carson has kind of fallen this far out of favor. Like, and it happened last year, guys. Remember, in 2018, he was like the third ranked player on the top 100. And then last year, he was like, 96 guys or something like that. Then he's out of the top 100. Like, I mean, the momentum was building that way anyways. But, yeah, definitely surprised me. Anthony Perry, what's good, man? Now, we're not going to do the Battle Birds podcast today. Mike ended up having a surprise visit from some family because they wanted to see his house. So, like, he didn't really get enough time to kind of work through the schedule with me and Reese to set it up to go later or earlier. And so we just decided that, we wouldn't be able to do it this week. I still wanted to come on, guys, just because, like, I made a commitment to do Saturday. So unless a bunch of my family shows up on my doorstep, we're good, guys. I'm going to keep rolling, but I wouldn't put it past that. My brother's in the chat right now. For all I know, he might be driving. Drew, thanks, Coach. Do you mind me calling you Coach? Nah, it's all good, Drew. I don't mind that, buddy. It's crazy to me, guys, just how much this team has to prove. This team has a ton to prove this year. And let's not sugarcoat it. It was bad. It was bad at times last year, guys. It was also very much the ideal situation was not being presented. We came in looking so good against Chicago, right? Really beat up on Chicago. We come out of that bye week from Chicago, going to New England, and we end up losing Jordan Howard, right? That's the week we ended up bringing back Jordan Matthews back and all these guys. We had all these pieces being moved around. Miles Sanders, for the first time in his career, was a featured back. You know what I mean? Like, we had a lot of moving pieces there. And I think that hurt us, man. You lose Lane Johnson in that New England game. I mean, I just think it was the perfect combination of things that really slowed us down. And then it took time to come over that hump because of that stuff. But I will say this, guys, at some point in time, man, it's got to stop, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this injury stuff's got to stop, man. Whether it's, I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know if it's got to do with these dudes' diets. I don't know if it's got to do with their training facilities. Just pure dumb luck. I don't know what's going on, guys. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to try to diagnose what's going on here with that kind of stuff because I don't. But you know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, man, we just got to have a relatively healthy season. I know we're never going to have a completely healthy season, but just relative health, man. Maybe one or two players, not losing like 8, 9 players off of one side of the ball. Like, guys, I love it when I hear people say, all you did was beat the Cowboys. Okay. The team that had like one of the best offenses in the league and got stymied by our defense in Philly. The Redskins twice, the Redskins and the Giants twice. What they leave out is that when you looked at that Giants game, guys, we didn't have our X receiver. We didn't have our Y receiver. We didn't have our Z receiver. Zach Ertz was out. Jordan Howard wasn't there. Miles Sanders wasn't there. Okay. And at the same time, Lane Johnson wasn't there. That's 7 out of 11 offensive starters were down. For a game we still had to win to clinch and go to the playoffs. And I love how some people, not all of them, I think Bad Dog does a pretty good job of admitting that the Eagles really came in late in the season and held it together with a makeshift roster. But there are a lot of people that are blind to that fact, guys. I don't care who you are. That's hard to win with. That is a really, really hard task to win with. I mean, just to be real. Ooh, Jalen, that's a hot take, bro. Jalen said, would not be surprised if Sudfeld isn't going to be QB number 2 and it would be Kyle Luletta. My take on this is this, Jalen. I'm not going to say you're right. I'm not going to say you're wrong because some of this stuff has nothing to do with like guys' playing ability. Sometimes it has to do with contract and whether or not they can keep a guy under contract longer than another guy. Because in my opinion, I think there's a distinct difference right now. I'm not saying 2 years from now, but right now, clearly Nate Sudfeld is the second best quarterback on this roster. And that's including Jalen Hurts, guys. Jalen Hurts still has a long development as a quarterback. He's got a lot to work with, his throwing motion, his footwork. He's got work to do, guys. I trust that Jalen Hurts will put in the work, though, guys. He looks like a gamer to me. He looks like a guy that's going to put in that work. But he's behind, guys. I mean, we can't ignore that. But to Jalen's point, if the distance between Kyle Luletta and Nate Sudfeld isn't that great in the Eagles' minds, you might be able to keep Kyle Luletta as your third quarterback for second quarterback this year and even your third quarterback for another year or two. So I mean, if that's the case, sure, I could see that, Jalen. I could. I'm not going to project that per se. I could see it though. I could definitely see that. I mean, we all know the future QB2 is going to be Jalen Hurts. I mean, they drafted him to have that cheaper option. Jack said Sanders has got to break out of Barkley's shadow. I think he's going to, man. I thought he took some pretty major steps forward last year in doing that. Cowboys paper champs every offseason. Yeah. Underrated move is the pickup of Ted Rath. Can you talk about wide receiver, Anthony? Sure. So to me, look, you guys know I wasn't ridiculously high on Marquise Goodwin. I took a lot of heat from people when I said I wasn't sold that he was going to make the roster. I thought he had a fighting chance, and I thought that if you were just judging it by who are your 5 or 6 best receivers, of course he was one of the best 5 or 6 receivers. But that's not the reality of how you structure a roster, right? It's got to be fit for the scheme. It's got to be fit for the actual roster in itself, like where you have guys, how many guys you're going to carry, certain alignments, things like that. But also, injury concerns. The guy had 3 concussions between 2015 and 2016. Like, He had some concussion concerns, guys. He's had a lot of injuries throughout his career. I'm feeling him making it. I thought if he did make the team, my caveat to that is if Marquise Goodwin can find his way on this roster, he could be pretty good on it. But I wasn't really counting him on the roster. So Anthony Adder, the way is this. D-Jax is here. D-Jax will likely be the star of this show. Alshon Jeffrey is going to be on the PUP list. Right now, they have him on the active PUP, which means they may not put, they might put him on the active roster. And he might sit out a few weeks and maybe he comes back, or they might move him to the reserve PUP, so he'll be out 6 to 8 weeks, or they might just IR him. Who knows? My guess is he'll either go to the active roster and sit out a few weeks, or he's going to be put on the reserve PUP, come down the cut down time. So the difference is when you're on the active PUP, you count against the roster. When you're on the reserve PUP, you don't count against the roster until you're activated. All right. So I would say Alshon would be 2. My third guy right now, I think Greg Ward Jr. has a clear path to this roster. I would say he's 3. Obviously, Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor is a first-round pick. It'll be on the roster. I know you guys hate this. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside is a second-year player that we spent a second-round pick on. I'm not saying that he's necessarily deserving of it, but the reality is the reality. He's likely on this roster as the 5th receiver. Now my question becomes, how many do we keep? 6? 7? I think John Hightower's on this roster. And I think given the circumstance of everything that's going on, I think Quez Watkins will be on this roster. I see 7 receivers, with one guy possibly being on the active, or being on the being moved to the reserved PUP list in Alshon Jeffrey. So he won't count against that roster for 6 to 8 weeks. So it'll only be 6 receivers until he's activated again. And then I think we'll cross that bridge when we get there, trying to see if we can't get one of these guys to clear waivers to go onto the practice squad, or if we're just going to stash a 7th guy. I do think Manasseh Bailey will make the practice team, the practice squad. The reason I say that, guys, is let's be real. In 2021, the likelihood of getting D-Jax back and the likelihood of getting Alshon back or Marquise Goodwin is very low. So what does that leave you on your roster? First round pick in Reagor, second round pick in JJ, an undrafted rookie free agent in Greg Ward Jr., okay, John Hightower, Quez Watkins, and possibly Manasseh Bailey. So, or a draft pick from next year. I mean, we might add more competition. We might sign a veteran. Who knows? But I'm just going to guess that given the circumstances of our cap situation, very unlikely we're going to be out there signing veteran receivers next year. We might draft, though, to try to add competition. I could see us taking a flyer on a late round guy next year to bring in competition as a 6th guy to compete with Manasseh Bailey. But that's the way I kind of see it, guys. I would love to see a guy like Rob Davis and them stick around too on the practice squad, just because I do think that if the situation was what we're looking at in 2021, those guys would have a legitimate shot at actually making the roster and contributing. So, I mean, that's the way I look at it right now. But if you want me to go more in depth about something, you just got, let me know. I mean, it's just the overall kind of surface level thought process about the receivers. So does Alshon's PUP count against a 55-man roster? So yeah, Anthony, that's what I was saying. So if you're an active PUP, yes. When you're on the active PUP, you count against the roster. But if they move him to reserve PUP later on, then no, he doesn't count against the roster as a reserve PUP. Jack said Sudfeld needs to step up and show something where he's gone. He's been here too long without proving anything. Yeah, but he's had a pretty difficult, you know what I'm saying, like way up too. We beat Green Bay, Buffalo, and Chicago. Yeah, Anthony, I'd say Green Bay, Buffalo, Chicago, and the Dallas victory are probably our 4 best victories. I mean, yeah, I tend to agree with that. All right, guys, I'm sorry I'm reading stuff. Sanders did, but still no one talks about him. Yeah, I was talking and someone kept bringing Barkley up. I think Sanders is on another level and more tread led. Look, Barkley's he's a beast, man. I'm not going to disrespect Barkley, but they're different style running backs, and I'm not dissatisfied with having Miles Sanders. I think Miles Sanders is a little more, Shady McCoy. So I personally like it. So Anthony said 6, but then 7 with Alshon. I think a lot of us kind of see that way. Drew said he sees 7 wide receivers as well. Jack said he hopes JJ develops. He has the body type to be a star. The ability is there. He needs to put it together. He doesn't show nothing this year. He'll probably be gone. It's a situation, Jack, because we're really up the creek without a paddle if he doesn't produce this year, because we're in a peculiar situation with the cap. I mean, we really need JJ to play up to expectations, to be real about it. I mean, that's really it's a priority this offseason. And I think the Eagles are showing you that they're treating it as a priority. You go get Aaron Moore, you fire Carson Walsh, who I don't mean anything disrespectful towards any coach. I know at the end of the day, these people are human beings. They got families, they got lives they live. I get it, guys. I'm not here to disrespect them, none of that stuff. However, this is what I want to say. My God, he was bad at his job. He just was, man. I don't know how to defend it. It was a really bad job, man. Guys weren't running switch routes correctly. You got, JJ bouncing around and jumping around when he's supposed to be sitting down in the zone. I mean, you got guys that, JJ's tailing away from the quarterback on a slant route, like something that's just such a fundamental thing that everyone in this chat room who played wide receiver in high school knows. Your coaches drilled that in your head when you ran a slant route. That's just the one thing you don't do. You don't tail away from the quarterback. Like, you can't defend him, man. And I respect him as a person, as a human being, and surely he knows the game of football, but he just didn't work out as a coach. I think Aaron Moorhead is a huge signing, man. I trust Aaron Moorhead big time. I think Aaron Moorhead is going to be a big difference maker. Now we brought in Jason Avant into camp. So he's here as an intern in camp. Big signing, man. I mean, we're really trying to attack that wide receiver. You got Andrew Brenner, right? I mean, we got guys here. I wish we could have worked something out to have gotten, other guys in here to work with these receivers, but it's hard. Josh McCown is still caught up with wanting to play, football. I wish Josh McCown the best. I hope that Josh McCown would consider coming back here and working with the receivers. Maybe quarterback coach one day. I mean, I really think he'll be something. Like, I honestly think Josh McCown is destined to be a good coach. I really do. Anthony said, "Hey, Gate, could you compare Rager with Antonio Brown and Steve Smith?" I see Rager more as a Steve Smith type. He's a little guy that has a lot of speed. He can elevate. He's got a crazy vertical, and he's got that fight. He's got the instincts of a Steve Smith. Antonio Brown, I can see some people have asked me about the route running comparisons to Antonio Brown. There are some elements like the rocker step stuff. Antonio Brown was really good at the rocker step as well. And so is Jalen Rager. I see why people say that, but I do think he's a little closer to Steve Smith than Antonio Brown. But look, let's be real. That's the comparison I'll give him. But I will caution people, don't think that this kid as a rookie is going to be Antonio Brown or Steve Smith. Like, that's not fair to those guys. Those guys were professionals that have a lot of years of experience in the league, that put their butts in gear and put in a lot of work. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be disrespectful to say that, but that's the NFL comp I would give him. Would be closer to, a Steve Smith. What's up, Romy One? Romy One, you missed it earlier. I was shouting you out. Romy One, I appreciate you being a member of the Cerebral community. That's my guy, man. I appreciate him a lot. Just want to shout him out and show my appreciation, man. He said he thinks 7 wide receivers. Me too, man. Me too. I think there's going to be 7 as well. I know some people, like, I talked to someone the other day and they were like, Gate, you're so rational. Why would you predict 7 wide receivers? Just judging what happened last year. For me, it's because of what happened last year, guys. It was bad. Last year was just really bad. Miles is about to take a major step and show out, Drew said. Yes, sir. I agree, Drew. I agree, man. Jack said, Barkley needs a lot of volume and will break one run here and there. He is a beast, but he's being wasted on the Giants while they are rebuilding. Dang, Jack. You don't hold any punches back, do you, man? I agree. Actually, I think the Giants are going to be an improved team, Jack. I really do. I think offensively, the Giants have pieces. I'm just curious at how the defense's pieces kind of fit together there. I'm also curious about their coaching staff, to be honest. BMO Careful said, Avant sounds like People put that work in on J-Jaw. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, man. JJ needs a lot of development because the underlying skill is there, but he's got to work on that route running. He's got to work at getting himself in a proper positioning for contested catch at the NFL level. He's got to work at the timing of those jumps. He needs those little subtle things he's got to work with. And a guy like, Aaron Moorhead and a guy like Jason Avant to go a long way in developing a guy like JJ. That's what I'm trying to caution people. His route running was bad. I called him out on it, guys. I made a video. If you haven't watched that video, just go look at my archives. You'll see the JJ Arcega-Whiteside video where I broke down the film on him. It was bad. It was discernibly bad. But I'm saying, don't think that just because of how bad it was last year, that's what he's going to be. Okay? He didn't give you any reason to have hope. I get it, guys. But I'm just saying, we got the right coaches in here, man. He could be a pretty nice story this season. He could be. What up, Show Enough? How you doing, man? Jack said he likes that we brought Jason Avant home too. Anthony Perry said one thing about Avant, he caught the ball. Yeah, Avant, man, that was sure hands Avant, bro. Avant caught everything in his path, like no doubt about it. Vic, what's going on, buddy? Expand roster by 5 or 6, then each week release one guy until you get back to normal. We'll see how they do it, Vic. I mean, there's a lot of different approaches they could take. I don't know how they're going to do it personally, Vic. I mean, I just evaluate film. I give my insight as a coach, but I try to do the best I can, Vic, to be careful with the predictions I make just because I'm not privileged to get inside information. I would love to have the opportunity to sit down and really pick Doug Peterson's mind and Deuce Staley and Jeff Stoutland and, Rich Grandrello and all, Press Taylor. I would love the opportunity to actually pick their mind. And I think that I could change their perceptions of us guys that cover, players on YouTube because I know the sport, I coach it. But I don't know they'll ever give us a chance to that, but hey, maybe they will one day. Who knows, man? We'll see. We're definitely getting, momentum. You got Mike getting shout outs on Twitter all the time from the guys. So, we're at least catching the eye of some of the players. That's kind of cool. It's really cool because I never thought that would happen, guys. That was never, I thought I might have, like 100 people I could talk to after about a year of doing this. I never envisioned this channel would grow and be what it is, guys. I mean, not what I was intending at all. Anthony Perry said, Deuce says he thinks Miles should be on a pitch count, just unleash him. Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly, Anthony. That's what he was saying is that we don't need to worry about the amount of carries that Miles Sanders gets. Could you imagine Deuce trying to suit back up? But that's what he was saying, basically, that because he's elusive and he can avoid contact, he doesn't worry about keeping him on, a pitch count, that he can be a workhorse back because of that. BMO Careful said, Gate City, if they keep 7, you think they go 2 tight ends like they did at the start of last season? Yeah, I do. I think it's exactly what they'll do, BMO. That's exactly what I think they'll do. Chris said, hey, the Lions wasted Barry Sanders. Yeah, they did. Yeah. DeJuan Shepard, what's going on, buddy? I just saw your comment, man. What's good, buddy? So we got Jackson. Yeah, JJ needs to work on not dropping game winners. Danny, what's going on, buddy? Danny said, I think JJ could break out. Me too, Danny. I think that with the right coaching, look, I'm not saying this guy's going to have 1,000 yards receiving. I'm saying that he could turn into something worth developing further. Like, I definitely think Rager's going to be the guy that, provides a lot of spark with Djax, but I think JJ could be the consistent guy that, along with Ertz and Goddard, can be a chain mover and a guy that can go up for contested catches. Jalen said, not based on current body. Do you think Hightower has strong enough hands and has shown the ability to work the short to intermediate part of the field? Whew, Jalen, that is like a ridiculously good question, sir. All right. I'll be honest about what I see from Hightower and the reason why I'm a little higher on Watkins than Hightower, although I think Hightower has a much higher upside. Hightower, for a 6'2" guy that kind of has a lanky build, he doesn't have the biggest hands. So, guys, if you go back and you look at the combine results and you look at the receiver's hand results, look at the guys that measure in around 6'1" and between like 6 foot and 6'3", and then compare Hightower's hands. Okay. Normally, I would tell you guys that stuff doesn't mean crap. Here's the nuance to it, though. Okay. The caveat, if you will. When you go watch film and you see a guy that he gains this weird separation in the air from the players, but yet when he's going up for these contested catches, he's showing this athletic ability, man. He can elevate. He really can. He elevates, but then like he mistimes the jump at times, and then other times he has the ball in his hands and he can't secure it. And I don't know if that's something to do with his hands, the size of his hands, possibly. I don't know if it's a physical limitation or is it a hand and eye coordination thing. If it's a hand and eye coordination thing, that can be ironed out, that can be worked on, that can be fixed. If it's a physical limitation with his hands, it can still be worked on. You can still see improvement. But, you know what I mean? What I will say about John Hightower is this, Jalen. When you look at the overall athletic profile, so like the 20 cone, right? 20-yard shuttle, 20-yard shuttle, not cone, 20-yard shuttle and the 3 cone. When you take all those numbers along with the 40-yard dash, he had a really athletic profile. He's fast. He's elusive. Good kick returner. I think he's got potential being a punt returner as well. Hey, he does. Jalen, you hit the nail on the head, man. He needs to add something to his frame. He does. I would not sleep if JJ struggles. I wouldn't sleep on John. If he gives John Hightower an opportunity, that could be a really, really interesting, battle. And I know John's only guys, but I'm telling you, he's more talented than people realize. And there were a lot of scouts. Wow. There's a lot of Scots. There's a lot of scouts. Jesus. A lot of scouts that were high on Hightower. Tongue-tied myself, guys. JJ was better at the end of the season last year. Hopefully he adds on. Yeah. Who was your wide receiver 1 in the last draft? Danny. So I have a very particular way that I value wide receivers. I say that your top 20 picks should only be a boundary side, X-aligned wide receiver. Okay. It's harder to play that position. It requires a certain physical attribute to be able to do it. And I just think they're harder to identify in the league. Now, my top guy, that's tough, man. My top guy, honestly, just pure, talent. But I don't know if there's really anything to believe about their knee and their ankle was Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy was my top guy. Then I said I'd probably put CeeDee Lamb there, although I thought CeeDee Lamb had to prove he can separate and get vertical in the NFL. But I do think that the underlying stuff is there for CeeDee Lamb. Past that, guys, I said I really probably wouldn't mess with too many guys in the top 20 past that point. I thought guys like Denzel Mims in them, you could take a look towards the back half of the first and the second round, but I had T. Higgins above Denzel Mims. I thought T. Higgins was the better player. I did think that T. Higgins had the potential to be a top 20 pick. I'm not saying I'm saying 16 through 22. But I think we all kind of had the feeling going down the stretch T. Higgins would be early second round or late first round. Now, I'll tell you this, Danny. If you go back and you look at my draft profile, start on April 1st, and all through April up to the draft, I broke down 20-some receivers. I said from the jump, I was a Jalen Reagor guy. I thought Jalen Reagor was the perfect fit for Philadelphia, and it was the player I thought the Eagles should draft. I said this honestly back in January. I've been a Reagor guy for quite some time. Anthony said, I was not a big JJ fan, but I guess we'll have to see what's up. Yeah, exactly, man. You got to give him a chance, but yeah, man, I'm concerned with that. I'm definitely concerned with it. Eagles have a top 5 coaching staff, and that gives them a leg up on most teams this year. Drew, I like that take, sir. I agree. Jack, you are awesome at what you do, bro. I'm surprised more people aren't subscribed. You know what you're talking about and are great at it. Keep it up. Hey, Jack, I appreciate the support, guys. I appreciate all 1,935 the last time I checked, guys. Look, I've learned to just be grateful. Be grateful. You know what? At the end of the day, I never imagined I'd have 1,900 people to talk. I'd have a platform with 1,900 people I could potentially reach. I never envisioned that, guys. I thought within a year, maybe I could get up to 100, maybe 200 subscribers and have a little, a little close knit group that I could talk football with. So, I mean, I'm grateful, man. I'm really grateful for everything that's kind of come my way since I've done this. Sean, what is good, buddy? Sean says, are we only carrying 3 running backs? If so, who are we putting on the practice squads? Killins and Warren? If not, who's the 4th? Sean, me personally, like I said, Sean, I get really iffy about predicting that stuff, especially without being able to see a lot of the training camp drills, without being able to see any preseason games. It's really hard to get a feel for it. Me personally, I would keep 4 running backs. I would go 6 to 7 receivers, 4 running backs, 2 tight ends. Okay. That's how I would personally go after it. But I don't know. I mean, I think there is the possibility they go 3 in a practice squad player. That's a real distinct possibility. I was just talking about that earlier, Sean. Deuce Staley said some really complimentary things towards Michael Warren, stating that he's been watching film on Michael Warren for several years now, and that he's a very underrated player. And he's alluding that he's a serious candidate to make the roster. Took me back by surprise. I know some guys in here, like Takeem Hilton, have been really big on him since, really we made that undrafted rookie free agent signing. But it caught me by surprise that they were that high on him. I knew they liked him, but that's a ringing endorsement from your running back coach. Chris Kaufman said, you just have to be careful. You don't want to burn Sanders out like they did Westbrook back in 2009. Yeah, I mean, Deuce was a workhorse back though too. Although he competed in the 3, he had the 3-headed monster with Burl Buckhalter, right? And Brian Westbrook. So I mean, I guess we'll have to see how they work all that out. Be more careful said the one issue nobody mentions in that in order for these wide receivers to make an impact, Carson has to be open to learning to not lean on the tight end so much. Because even with solid wide receivers, he went to Ertz too much. I think some of it is the scheme, though, too, BMO. So sometimes it's a matter of scheme, and it's a matter of the coverage you face. So as teams begin to bracket Ertz, there's a few things that can happen. You're going to attack the edges, and you got to get guys that can win on the edges. And Alshon is still, I think, the best overall receiver on this team. But he's been injured, and he didn't look right last year, guys. I'm just going to be honest. Alshon didn't look right last year, man. He didn't have a lot on the outside to play with once Jackson went down, guys. Chris Kaufman says, at Gate City Sports Talk, meant to say 2008. Oh, I know what you meant, man. It's all good, man. I know you meant the one year that he had, like, the crazy rushing statistics. And I think he had, like, I want to say he had over 300 attempts that season, rushing attempts. Romy One, what's good, buddy? He said, if we keep Killins, he should be strictly for kickoffs and punt returns. Yes, sir. Killins should be a special teams contributor if that's what happens. And then maybe a once in a great while, every other game, every 3 or 4 games, you try to scheme something for him to maybe catch the defense off guard. I can see something like that. Kara, what is good? I appreciate you joining. Got a new member here in Kara. I appreciate you, hon. Quez Watkins definitely is a dog. Rager with contested catches. Hightower is smooth like water, but his contested catches need improvement. Good take, Anthony. What I saw too on film, Anthony. Danny said, I liked Higgins as well, but I'm fine with Rager. Are you glad the Eagles didn't draft Jefferson? So, Danny, I wouldn't say I'm glad they didn't draft Jefferson, but I was skeptical of Jefferson playing in the slot. Here's my thing about Justin Jefferson. I thought Justin Jefferson was an incredible route runner. I did. But he, generally speaking, did not play teams' best corners. Justin Blackmon got that. And to be honest, he might have been on team's second, third, even linebackers at times. I was worried about how that would translate to the NFL, but he was a really good route runner when you break down his film. Guys, I want to get to some of our members. BMO Careful coming in with the membership. BMO Careful and Sarah. I appreciate both of y'all so much, guys. Thank you so much. Let me see what we got here, guys. Let me go back up. All right. With two spots. Why'd I read sports, show enough? With 2 spots open at wide receiver, these rookies should get work early. Good point. We're going to need them to get a lot of work really quickly, show enough, because this is a really peculiar offseason, guys. I had it wrote down like the schedule. So right now they're going through an administrative level. They can start 9-on-7 drills, I think, not next week, but the following week. And then 3 weeks in, they can start padded practices. And then training camp ends, I want to say September 5th or the 6th. And that's when you got to submit your roster cuts. You got to have your final roster cuts in place. Anthony, I appreciate you, bro. Anthony said, you're really good at what you do, Gate City. This is your chamber Wu-Tang. Appreciate you, Anthony. Thanks for the shout out. Keep the good content coming. We need to get together and talk some ACC football. Sean, I would love to talk ACC football with y'all. Hey, hit me up. Sean, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. You can message me even through here on one of the comments for a thing, and I'll set you up. Guys, and understand, I am open to interviewing. I'm thinking about doing a Friday interview series to where on Fridays I will interview members of our community and I will interview other, content creators. Not we can talk Philadelphia Eagles, but really I want to talk about just, I want to talk about the Eagles, how you became an Eagle fan. Like, tell me your background, tell me your story. Let's get to know each other. I like that. Think of like a Rogan style podcast, but for football on Fridays. I'm really thinking about doing that. I would love to interview a lot of you guys. Chris Kaufman said, we need a power running back like Blunt or Carl Buckhalter. Yeah, I thought Jordan Howard did a really good job filling that role in last year, but we'll see, man. They say Michael Warren and Elijah Holyfield could be that guy, but they're unproven. I mean, we got to see it on the field. I trust Takeem, though. Takeem is really high on Michael Warren. And I know Takeem pays a lot of attention to the line play, and he pays a lot of attention to running back play. I think Takeem is like the way that I really focus in on wide receiver play and quarterback play. I think Takeem kind of focuses on line play and running back play to that extent. Danny said, hopefully Deshaun stays healthy. Yeah, man. Hopefully is a good word. If we can get 12 games out of Deshaun, I think it'll be a really special season. Deuce says Killins was small and special. You can't be small and not special, but if you're special, you got a shot. There you go. Yeah, see, I missed that comment, Anthony. I didn't even hear him say that. But like I said, I was so distracted, man. Like, I was like messing around with like writing notes about stuff and like trying to organize my top 10. And like, it was really the comments he said about Miles Sanders. I was like, what? I turned my head and was like, hang on. I turned it up, rewound it back. Kara, what's good, hon? She said, hey, sorry, didn't see you. Came on. I'm rearranging my house. Hey, Kara, I'm almost there myself. I got to do that myself, but I'm trying to get some videos lined up for you guys. So that way I can at least post and respond to your comments while I rearrange the house. So there we go. BMO said, I saw the channel membership this morning, wanted to wait for live stream to join. BMO, careful. I appreciate you, brother, man. Look, guys, y'all make it worth doing this, man. That's why I love trying to come on here. I actually, guys, when I miss a day of posting, it's kind of weird to admit this, man, but like, it feels incomplete. Like my day feels incomplete. I feel like, man, I didn't do anything today. I didn't even upload a video. I didn't even do a live. Like, I didn't even make a community post. Like, it's weird, man. It's weird how this thing could kind of take you over a little bit. But I definitely got some stuff coming up, guys, for community members. I got a lot of things planned, guys. I'm in the community members post only. Like, there's going to be posts that only you guys can see for the community tabs, and I'm going to be rolling out some of the stuff coming up, guys. So you guys will definitely get a chance to see what's going to be planned. And it's going. Some of this stuff will pertain to every single membership level. Okay, it'll be an appreciation for you guys joining at no matter what level you join at. We're going to have some pretty cool things planned with you guys. Jack said, good night, guys. Jack, I appreciate you tuning in, buddy. Hey, I'm glad to see you back, man. I was like, man, where's Jack been? It's been a while since I saw him. Dessert, then got to put kids to bed. Ooh. Catch y'all next time. Keep up the great work, Steve. Appreciate you, Jack. Would I move Boston Scott, the punt returner? Chris, he struggled there a little bit. I mean, maybe he just needed more reps and more time to get acclimated. With him playing a pivotal role, I might be a little more hesitant when you got guys like Adrian Killins that can play punt returner. Guys, I have a video coming up. I don't want to spoil it. All right, I'll spoil it. It's fine. I'll spoil it. I got a video coming up on Arnold, okay? On Grayland Arnold. Grayland Arnold is a punt returner too, guys. You also have mean, we got a lot of guys like, John Hightower's a punt return. Corey Clement can do that. Like, we got guys that can definitely kick return and punt return on this team. So it may not be necessary, but I definitely get where you're going with it. Appreciate you, Kara. I just did a video, bro. I was bored. I'll check it out, Rock the Artist. As a matter of fact, hang on, Rock the Artist. While we're sitting here talking, let me pull up your YouTube channel, man, because you've told me like 5 times about your channel. And I even watched one of your videos before. Make sure I'm subbed up to you. All right, Rock the Artist. I got you, bro. I'm subbed up. I'm gonna watch your video when I jump off this live tonight. All right, man. I'll leave you a comment about what I see in it. Guys, if you are a content creator and you're a part of this community, let me, Mike, and Reese know, man, so we can sub you all up. We try to spread it out as much as we can, guys. What's up, Bird Gang 336? So where to join? If you just go to my channel and you'll see that there's a button that says join. So like if you go to my Bird Gang 336, if you go to my channel, just type in Gate City. It should probably, if you type in Gate City Sports, it'll probably just pop up. My channel will. So don't go to my videos, just go directly to the channel. And when you click on the channel, you're going to see it's going to say you'll see it'll say join. There'll be like a white and blue button that says join. Al Kabir, the analyst, what's good, buddy? Miles Sanders would make the Pro Bowl guaranteed. Look, I hope so, man, because I think Miles Sanders is a special talent. I do. I do think Miles Sanders has an ability and a talent that we haven't witnessed here since LaShawn McCoy left. And I think that Miles Sanders is a little more of a north and south runner to where he's what Chip Kelly wanted. He wanted the elusiveness of a guy like, LaShawn McCoy, but he wanted him to be a little more patient behind the line, and he wanted him to be a little bit more of a north and south runner. That's basically what Miles Sanders is. He's a LaShawn McCoy who's fairly patient behind the line. He learned it over the course of the year. I think Jordan Howard and Deuce Staley played a major role in getting him there. And then, he can bounce it outside. He can get it inside. I mean, he's good in both, man. Chris, I appreciate you tuning in, buddy, so much, man. Thank you for the compliment, man. Y'all are always loved, man. Josh, what's good, buddy? We talking Sixers at all? Josh, look, man, I made a video about the Sixers back at the beginning of the season. And they went on that road trip, the West road trip with Phoenix, everybody. That just broke me, man. That broke me for the season. Josh, it broke me for the season. But nah, man, this is Eagles tonight, man. We do a Saturday podcast every Saturday on the Eagles, man. But how they doing, man? I don't even have the game running. Man. I'm trying to concentrate and stay up here. So y'all can keep me up to date while we're doing a live. So that way when I jump off the live, I can just go jump on and turn the game on. So here's my thing, guys. It may be crazy. I think Miles Sanders is going to have a 1,000-yard season. I think he's going to have 1,500 yards from scrimmage again. I definitely think he's a 1,500 all-purpose yard back, in my opinion. 1,000-yard rusher, 1,500 easily all-purpose back. I honestly believe it. I can honestly see this kid getting more than 1,000 yards rushing. I can honestly see him getting at least 400 to 500 yards receiving again. I honestly think this kid is that talented. I really do. I mean, to me, he's crazy. Oh, Rock the Artist, they're losing. Sixers, man, they upset me too much, guys. Like, the thing that kills me about the Sixers is that you get emotionally invested in the Sixers. They start off and like they give you some kind of hope. You think, what I'm saying? Like, oh man, like it's going to be a good season. And then like that, oh my God, that Western road trip, man, that road trip out West, man, it broke my spirits, guys. That was just like, yo, I'm done. I can't deal with them doing this to me, man. What's up, Jock Talk? I don't know if I said what's good, man. What's going on, buddy? Bird fan 1717 said Miles was really bad early on. He was very impatient behind the line, but his growth throughout the year was impressive. Yeah, definitely. 100%. As we talk about him being a workhorse, many forget he sprained his ankle in the last game and was limited against Seattle. He still played pretty well. I think he still was, man, if he was 100% healthy, man, he would have been a nightmare for them. Gate City Sports, any thoughts on Shady heading to the Bucks? Honestly, I love Shady. He's one of my favorite Eagles of all time. I think he's spent, guys. I definitely think he's spent. I'm just going to be honest. Can he still contribute to a team? Come in, maybe pop off a game or two where he gets 100 yards? Possibly. I don't think that's the guy that you're going to have carrying the ball more than maybe 100 times. And he's a 100 attempt guy on the season. I think, unfortunately, we're coming to the end of Shady's career. I mean, if Andy couldn't come on, Andy Reid couldn't, you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. He did play a lot early in Kansas City, and he was effective for a short window. But even when he came back from injury, they didn't want to play him, man. And that turned me off to him returning back to Philadelphia. Although I would love to see the kid retire his jersey here. BMO, so wow, that's all I got. Miles getting over 2,000 scrimmage yards. Oof. Oh, you got that coming out though, man. Like 1,300 rushing and another 800 receiving. Hey, BMO, he gets that. I'll tell you what, man. We have to work something out. BMO, I'll have to get you a Miles Sanders jersey. If that happens, because you called that, and that would be a hell of an impressive stat line. I'd have to hook you up. So let me write that one down, BMO. So we're gonna make that one official, BMO. If Miles Sanders gets 2,000 all-purpose yards, all right, Miles Sanders 2,000 plus all-purpose yards. All right, I'm buying BMO. Careful, a jersey, Miles Sanders jersey. All right, man, I got you written down in there. You got him at 1,200 and 800. All right, man. Hey, look, BMO, I hope you're right, bro, because that would mean we dominate things, man. But I'm gonna stick by it, man. If you call this, if you hit this at 2,000 rushing yards, not 2,000 rushing yards, that would be nuts. At 2,000 all-purpose yards, I promise you, I will hit you up. I will ask you for where you want me to ship you your jersey, and I will ship you a Miles Sanders jersey at the end of the season if he hits that. So you will have a fresh Miles Sanders jersey for the playoffs. Because if he gets 2,000 all-purpose yards, we're going to the playoffs. Romy 1 said, my worry is that we stay committed to the run. Good point, Romy 1. It's true. Very true, sir. Josh, I don't know how to say your last name, man, so I don't want to butcher it. And, it's kind of disrespectful when you butcher people's last name. TJ Warren is cooking us as usual, haha. And you're not crazy. When we talk receiving core, we got to include Miles. Yeah, that's true, man. You guys are going to hate this. TJ Warren's an NC State guy. We used to call him TJ Buckets. He's got a very old man game. He scores points in weird ways. Like you look up at the stat sheet and the dude's got 30 points. You're like, how did he just put up 30 points? TJ Buckets was like that, bro. All right, Will, what's up, buddy? He said, earlier you talked about win-losses being a team record when talking Dak versus Wentz, which is true. But then you bring up Dak's record in the playoffs. Right. But do you know what Dak's numbers are in the playoffs? It supersedes just his actual record. And it's not his record in the playoffs. I'm not referring to his record. Okay? When I'm talking about when Dak plays playoff teams, I'm talking about his passer rating, his individual performance, Will. He's horrible. He's not good. He's been very inconsistent. And I'm not talking about Dak in the playoffs. I'm talking about Dak playing playoff teams. Okay? So his 0-5 and 55 passer rating, when he played top 10 DVOA teams, that's a team record of an 0-5, led by a very poor performance by Dak Prescott of a 55 average passer rating. You know what I mean? Like, it's just horrible, man. He's not good. When you really dig down deep into the analytics, Dak doesn't perform well when you need him to. And they can say what they want, but there's a reason. Look, would the Cowboys like to sign Dak? Of course they would. But there's a reason why they're tiptoeing around paying him upwards of $38 million. And it has to do with the fact that he hasn't been good against certain level of competition. Whew. Says a lot if they knew Damian Williams was going to COVID opt out and they didn't pursue him hard in Kansas City. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's definitely crazy. Philly Fan D, what's good, buddy? How you doing, man? So to join Philly Fan D, if you just go to my profile, so like go on YouTube and just search Gate City Sports. When you go to my channel, you should see a button that says join. It probably says it in the videos too. If you probably click out of the comments, it'll probably say join underneath the video too. Sorry, guys. Let me find up. I'm on my phone. So try to click out of the comments, Philly Fan D, and see if you click out of the comments, see if you can see the button that says join. Let me pull it up on my phone. I'll see if it shows that. It may not because it's my channel, but let me see if on my phone if it'll pull that up for you. For the rest of you guys that are in here while I'm doing this, that way we can kind of keep the conversation going. What are your guys' thoughts on Miles Sanders' all-purpose yards? What are your predictions? I said he'll have over 1,500 all-purpose. Philly Fan D says he's anticipating over 2,000. Where are you guys at, guys? What do you think about his all-purpose yards? Where do you think this kid's going to have? Sorry, guys, it's loading. Whew. So, all right, let me go down. Okay, guys, so if you're on your phone, all right, if you're on your phone, guys, and you're trying to join, if you look down to where it has like the like button, so where you can like the video, you'll see it says subscribe. It says Gate City Sports Talk. It'll say subscribe, and then it'll say join. Just hit the join button. Now, you might have to minimize the comments to do that, okay? You might have to X out of the comments to do that. All right, guys, let me see what everyone's predictions are real quick. Yeah, Will, just hit me up on a private message, man, and I'll give you a little bit more detail to it, okay? Anthony said they don't fully believe in Dak, bottom line. Yes, that's true, sir. They don't. Clearly, they don't. Yeah, so BMO saying, yeah, leave out of the chat. It's under his name. So Romy 1 says 1,600 all-purpose yards. Jalen says 1,500 sounds about right. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, about 1,500. Assuming he doesn't return kicks. Birds fan. I should have said that, man. Because now BMO is going to be like, no, you didn't say nothing about kicks. Now, I'll give it to him. If he gets 2,000 yards, even with kickoff returns, I'll still give it to him. Al Kabir says 1,700. Bird fan 17.7 said about 1,650 booby yards. Jimmy J says 1,200 rushing, 600 receiving. It's about 1,800 all purpose. That's good, man. I think Miles has the talent to get 2,000. But B. Scott will cut into most of his receiving. Yeah. Boston Scott's going to get some play time too. Exactly. Yeah. It's just strange on Apple phone. I don't see it. If you just, Philly Fan D, if you go on YouTube and you just search my channel name and just go underneath my channel, you'll see the join button. It'll be on my channel. You might have to back out of the comments, though. You might have to close out your comments. So Anthony Perry said Miles will have close to 2,000 all-purpose. Just got here what I missed. Messiah, a lot, man. Going over a lot, bro. We're talking about the running back position. We're talking about what Deuce Staley said, man. We're talking about how Deuce said that, look, Miles Sanders, in his opinion, is a workhorse back, and he doesn't need to put him on a pitch count. He thinks this guy can absolutely ball out, and he's got confidence in him, and he's excited to see what he does. So, hey, might be a special year for Miles Sanders, guys. That's funny, BMO. It's all right. Hey, BMO, if he gets 2,000 yards, including kickoff returns, I'll still pay it out for you, man. I'll get you a Miles Sanders jersey. You said 2,000. I didn't specify it. I'll count it. Hey, quick question. Why does Carson get so much hate? I don't understand. George, join the club, man. Hey, listen. So Mike and Reese and I were talking, guys, right? And I said, YouTube's been in July, it gets a little slow because, people are on vacation, stuff like that. And I said, I want to play around with, Facebook, and I want to run ads. And I want to see, am I good at targeting demographic, right? So trying to filter and just find Eagle fans and get my channel in front of Eagle fans, right? So I did some Facebook ads. Do you know how many freaking Cowboy people I picked up on that? I ran that Carson Wentz video I did a couple days ago. Holy crap. I've had like 5 comments I had to delete, and they were all Cowboy fans. I was like, what the? Man, some people just, it's like a weird, like dislike of Carson Wentz. I don't get it. I don't get it, man. He's a nice guy. Like, look, yeah, he's been injured. He missed 8 games. But I mean, we act like because he missed 8 games early in his career that, it's going to be a story for the rest of his career. I don't believe that. I really don't. But man, I don't get it either, guys. I try to understand people's point of view when I listen to people talk, especially if I think that they're logical. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I haven't heard a legit argument outside of, hey, he's got health concerns about staying healthy. Okay, that's cool. But what I'm talking about, when he's on the field, you can only go by when he's on the field. You're trying to tell me this guy's not at minimal a top 10 quarterback, and the reality being he's top 5? Like, okay. Clement going to shock us. Jamal Cook, bro, I would be happy if he did. I would be really, really happy. Romy One, what's good, man? Gates, I would like for you to invite Vouch Lombardi on the channel because he don't believe Wentz numbers are better than Dak. I would love to have Vouch Lombardi come on, but I don't know if he'll actually accept the invite. I have invited Romy. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I've invited larger YouTube content creators, and I'm just gonna look. I'm not gonna call them out by name. I'm not gonna disrespect them like that, because ultimately, if I say their names, then they're never gonna come on here. But some of them have absolutely ducked me. They've absolutely ducked me. They did not want to talk to me. So, and the funny thing is like, it's not like I would be confrontational or disrespectful towards them, but I'm going to hold you accountable. You say nonsense, I'm going to point you to how I know it's nonsense. I'm going to correct it. But man, I mean, some of them would definitely run. I don't see Miles on returns. Oh yeah, BMO, I don't see him either, man. I don't either. I don't think they would. I don't think they would expose him to the possibility of injury. You know what I mean? Bird fan 1717 said, "How much do you think we will be in 12 or 13 personnel this year?" Good question, by the way. Against small but fast Ds like Buffalo and Green Bay, we really pounded the ball on them. I like the matchup versatility. I still think you're going to see 12 man. You still got Goddard. You still got Ertz. You're still going to see him. Absolutely, you're going to see him. 13 man. I still think you'll see a jumbo package here and there. I don't think it'll be a very dominant part of our offense, but you'll see it here. What I would like to see, though, is I'd like to see 2-back sets emerge a little more. I'd like to see a little versatility using guys like Boston Scott and Miles Sanders in the backfield at the same time. Motioning, moving guys. Like, I mean, that's a hard matchup, man. Yeah, that's a really hard matchup, man, for teams to get with us on. Jimmy J said, if Miles is getting all the work we think he's going to get, he won't see another kick return for the rest of his career. Laugh a lot. Yeah, probably. You're probably right. Yeah, I'm probably safe in not including not saying anything about the kickoffs, but if he does, I'll count it. How about Rager in receiving touchdowns? I got 806. 806 would be a phenomenal stat line. I'm going to go just under you, man. I'm going to go 705. I'm going to go 705 just because I think we'll spread the ball around a little bit. But I definitely think he's going to have over 500 yards receiving, and I definitely think he'll have more than 4 touchdowns. So I'm going to go 705. 700 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. You guys want to chime in, guys? Go ahead. You can chime in, guys. Let us know what you think there. Messiah said, what do you think will be a pleasant surprise at the running back position? Also, remember conversation I tried out, and I got D, end, and running back. So running back's going to be tough, guys, when we talk about a pleasant surprise, because we're not going to get a chance to really see it. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Like, so it sucks. I'm trying to find out if there are any cameras at all in camp. Because if there's cameras in camp, I'd love to find out, guys. I'd love to get an opportunity there to see what's going on. I just don't think there's going to be any media. I don't know if they'll allow the Philadelphia inner media team, like Spadero and them, because then I'm going to be all over that freaking PhiladelphiaEagles.com trying to get footage of stuff. But it's going to be tough, Messiah. That's really tough. In terms of you playing D end or running back, just hit me up, Messiah, and we'll talk, man. All right. I'll talk to you a little bit about if you're going to play D end, man, you're going to have to learn a little bit about your release. You're going to have to learn about hand placement, hand fighting, body positioning, stuff like that. Okay. I'm playing running back. Hit me up. Let's talk. And I'll put you on I'll talk. Let me talk to Reese. Reese used to be a running back in high school. Philly Fresh was. Jalen said, I already asked Vach. He told me that he doesn't do debate. He did the Brunson thing because it's been brewed for a while. Yeah, I mean, I didn't ask Vach. I respect Vach. I think Vach is a very intelligent football fan. He's someone I respect. But I do think that he made some points in there that are a little suspect to me. I would have liked to have been there to have pushed back a little bit, but I didn't want to be one of those guys that makes videos when I'm not even a part of the conversation. You know what I mean? Like in response, like I didn't want to be those guys, man. Those guys kind of get on my nerves when they do that. You know what I mean? I hate guys that do that. Jimmy J said John Hightower as kick returner, Jalen Reagor as punt returner. Ooh, a lot of speed, a lot of agility there. Birdfan 1717 said was really bummed by his concussion. Worst kind of hit you can take. Yeah, to the back of the helmet, man. That was horribly hit. Helmet to the back of the head, bouncing head into the cold hard. Yeah, man, it was a bad hit. That knocks 32 out of 32 quarterbacks out of the game. No doubt about it. Here's my thing about Jadeveon Clowney. I 100% think that was a dirty hit. I think he understood that Wentz was going down, and I still think he made a conscious decision to try to send a message and get into Wentz's body. The problem is when he led with his helmet, and that caused him not to be able to see everything correctly, and he went right into the back of Wentz's head. Do I think he wanted to hit Wentz in the back of the head? Probably not. I don't know that he would do something that crazy because you're legitimately putting people's lives at risk doing that. But I definitely think he knew what he was doing was dirty, and he did it anyways. What's up, King James III? How you doing, buddy? Bird fan 1770 said, just bummed that people can act like this is that he's injury prone. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's been a lot of dudes early on in their careers that suffered injuries. Like, not everyone can be like, look, you look at a guy like Brett Favre, right? Iron Man of football. He was popping pills, guys, to do it. He ended up developing a freaking addiction problem that required treatment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta be careful with that kind of stuff. Tracy Williams, what's good, buddy? How you doing, man? Yeah, those dudes just do it to hate. They don't actually know their football like you do, so they avoid it. Exactly. Hey, there's been a few of them that weren't even larger. Like there was, you know what? I'll give you one. There was one that went after Mike pretty hard, and I sent him a private message, and I said, "Hey, look, I know Mike personally, so look, I get a decent amount of views. I got a small subscriber base, but it's a very, look, we talk, man. We engage each other. Like we're interactive. Like, come talk to me. Talk to me." He declined. Be Mo Careful said, Birds fans, they understand, but because it's Wentz, they show hate. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. George Redden said, hey, Gate, do you believe Miles can be a top 5 running back in this league? Yes, but I don't know if it'll be this year. I think this year the focus should be top 10. He needs to crack the top 10 list. I definitely think he's in the conversation of top 15. He's at least in that conversation of a top 15 back. I'm a little offended when someone had him listening, had him like 21st or 22nd. It might have been lower than that. It was like way down in the 20s, man. I was like, what were they watching? Bird fan said, I like the idea of 2 backs in the backfield more. So much versatility in what you can do. Exactly. I would love to see the Eagles do that a little more often. I like the idea of Killins in a Tariq Cohen type role. Did you think he has a shot to make the squad? On special teams, I do. On special teams, I definitely think he has an opportunity to make this football team. So Tariq Cohen, just some background information, Tariq Cohen is from, well, he's not from, but he played at NC North Carolina A&T University. NC A&T, the Aggies, they're a football team right down the street from you guys. I live off of Yanceyville Street. I know I probably shouldn't get that kind of information off, but whatever. I live right off of Yanceyville Street in Greensboro, North Carolina. That's why I call my channel Gate City, okay? Because Greensboro is known as the Gate City. So A&T is one of the best HBCU football programs. It is a very, very good football program, and Tariq Cohen came out of that school. Tariq Cohen is built a little more, but I think that's something to aspire to for Killins, to get that kind of frame. Jalen said, trust me, it's hard not to get through a season without those pills. Hey, there's a reason why we read this happening to people. It happens. And imagine, we're talking before a real epidemic was setting in, Jalen. I mean, can you imagine today what could happen? Philly Fan D said, what's your thoughts about McCarthy as head coach? That's a tough one. Do I think McCarthy at his best is better than Garrett? Yes. Do I think McCarthy brings stability that Garrett didn't? No, not really, man. I mean, the guy was getting massages during practices. Like, he's got a lot to explain for. It's not just his system. It's the lackadaisical approach he took to being the head coach. You can't come in and say you're going to be this administrator when, like, you're up there getting back massages. Like, you kidding me, man? Like, that's a bad look. That's a really bad look while practice is going on. Jimmy J with a hot take. He said Rager will lead all rookie wide receivers in receiving yards this year. Man, I would love for that to happen. That would so shut up. Rager's got a lot of haters too, guys. Rager's got some serious haters, guys. That would so shut them down. It would really shut them down. George Redden says, I can't believe Madden has Geis ahead of Miles. It makes no sense. Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah, but Wentz is injury prone, but Darius Geis isn't. Come on. Birds fan 1776 agreed on Clowney being dirty on that play. Agree. He tried to drop a shoulder on his body and missed in a worse way. Clowney has a history of dirty plays within the whistles. Yeah, he does. He does. I mean, yeah. Jimmy J say, hate it playing against NCA&T. Their stadium is nice, though, for an HBCU. Hey, Jimmy J, I'm going to tell you right now, man, one of the greatest fan experiences I ever had was actually getting an opportunity to watch a game. I mean, I'm telling you, if you've never been to GHO down here, GHO stands for the greatest homecoming on earth. It's NCA&T's like homecoming. It's something to behold, man. It's definitely, it rivals the big universities in North Carolina, the NC States, the UNCs, the ECUs, the Dukes, the Carolinas. Well, I said UNC, so that doesn't count against you. You know, it rivals those bigger schools, Wake Forest. Like, it rivals the Division I schools. They have something pretty special. They do. Sixers back up by 3. There we go. Might pull one out, guys. We might pull one out here. I don't think the coaching Messiah said, I don't think the coaching situation is going to help Dallas with all that talent around you. You should go eat and eat. Doesn't matter what anyone says. Yeah, like Zeke needs to be the center of their offense. How their coaching staff doesn't understand this, I don't know. You feed off of Zeke. That's how you win games. But, hey, you know what? Let them keep trying to just throw it all around. Aggie Pride. What's up, Bird Gang 336? I see that area code, bro. I'm a 336 myself, man. Al Kabir said, McCarthy literally had the top 2 quarterback in the NFL at the time and only got 1 ring. Dallas doesn't get much better. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, like, come on, man. Like, Dallas's talent, no matter what we think about their team, about the city, about the coaching staff, like, the talent level of that team is there to compete. It just doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, there's some deep-rooted stuff going on there because you don't fall off like that if there's not something really deep-rooted going on. What do you think about our second pick? Took me a day to see why, but you're slowly coming around to it, Vic. Vic, I don't know. I still think it was a reach where we drafted him. I'm going to be honest. I think it was a reach. I like Jalen Hurts as the player, though. I don't dislike Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. Okay. I didn't like picking him when we could have gotten other players to contribute. The theory is, and it's hard to know, they could be right, guys. They could be right. This could be true. The theory is that Dallas was going to take him in the 3rd round. So if we didn't get him in the 2nd round, they were going to take him. And that's why we took him in the 2nd round. I would have liked to have seen us taking a player in the second round and then have traded and leapfrogged Dallas to go get him, then I would have probably been a little bit more supportive of that. Even though I still think the third round was early for Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. He's got a lot of development, but yeah, look, he's going to be good on this team. No matter what I think about the value of the pick, he's going to produce. I know that he doesn't want to be a gadget player. I think he can be special as a gadget player. I'm just going to be honest, guys. I do. Court Dog says Dallas stinks. I back that notion. George said, hot take, Giants finished second in the division at 9-7. I firmly believe that. Possibly. They got talent, man. They got talent there. Bemo Careful said, what do you think of Schwartz? What do you think of what Schwartz said about Slade traveling all over? If that's the case, why sign Nickel Roby-Coleman? It's a good question, man. Maybe he means outside. Maybe he's going to travel him outside on the best receiver outside. I don't know. It's a very good question, Bemo. My gut instinct is that at the end of the day, you still have guys like Nickel Roby-Coleman could probably play outside if you needed him to. It's not as, not where ideally where you want him. But if you're going to bounce a guy inside, that means the guy that was probably playing in the slot is going to bounce outside anyway. So, you know what I mean? Like, I could see that, but we'll see. I guess my only fear there, and maybe this is what you're getting to, Bemo Careful. My only fear there is that what if a team's best receiver is their slot receiver and you got Slay playing in the slot the whole game? That would be a little concerning to me. That scenario would be concerning to me. So, yeah, we'll just have to see how it plays out, man. Berg fan 1717 said, has Jerry made any comments on protest? I can't imagine his team will accept being told they can't protest without a mutiny. We will have to see how that plays out. I don't think he spoke on it yet. I don't think they're going to say anything. I doubt it. I doubt they're going to say anything at this point. Ooh. Romy1 says, do you think Slay should follow the best receiver? Yes and no, Romy. So, if that receiver is going to play outside, then inside, then outside, like, you know what I mean? Like, sure, follow. We got guys that can play inside and outside. We got guys like Will Parks that can play outside. We got guys like Rasul Douglas. We got guys like, Sidney Jones. We got Avonte Maddox. We got guys that can move around. Here's my thing about that. If your best player is a slot receiver, do I want Nickel Roby playing the nickel the entire game? No, then I think that's a mistake. Then I would say that's a pretty big mistake. But we'll have to see how it plays out, man. The Eagles can't get pounded by Adams anymore. Let's see. Romy one more said, how much would you let Malik Jackson play defensive end? In packages. I would let him play defensive end. So, I do think Malik Jackson could take a certain percentage of snaps from the defensive end rotation. However, I do think that we got guys that I'm excited to see play. Okay. Here and there, I'd put him out there. I wouldn't say a crazy amount of times. With Nickel Roby-Coleman and LeBlanc, I don't think we need Slay to go inside very much situationally, sure. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Jimmy J. I'll be honest with you, Jimmy J. I'm worried about LeBlanc making this team, man. How many nickels are we going to keep? Now, the only thing I will say is I'm breaking down film on a candidate to play nickel or safety. And I have thoughts there. Here's my thing about this is a really tough roster project this year, guys, because you can only keep so many players. How many players you keeping? That's the problem. Here's my problem. If I were looking at the 10 best players in the secondary period, 10 best, these are your 10 best guys, whether they play safety, whether they play corner, whether they're a slot corner, they're an outside corner. Is LeBlanc a top 10 defensive back? You bet you know what he is. Absolutely. But I'm concerned they're not going to go deep at the nickel position with guys like, we got guys like Will Parks that can play nickel. We've got guys, like Jalen Mills that can play a nickel role. You know what I mean? Even, listen, it may be weird to say this, but I'm telling you, there were instances of this happening. You can move Rodney McLeod down and let him play inside as a nickel. The Eagles have done it before. Like, I'm worried about LeBlanc making this roster because of that. I'm not going to come out here and make any kind of crazy statement and say that he will or won't make the roster, because I just think that that's, how can we possibly know that without seeing the plan, without seeing how these guys are performing in camp? You know what I mean? Because if Rasul or one of these guys just don't look good, I think it's kind of hard to keep them on and to kick LeBlanc off. But I do think that he's facing the most uncertainty he's ever faced as a nickel corner. He's facing the most uncertainty he's ever faced in terms of the prospect of making the roster with the Eagles. So Birds fan 1717 said, I think that the Eagles under Roseman have prioritized the backup consistently. We paid Chase Daniel. It's true. Nick Foles, Kolb, signed Vic, and so on. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Pork Dog 00, I got a Graylin Arnold video coming out. Mixed views on him, Pork Dog. Ball hawk. Graylin Arnold is a ball hawk. Needs to improve on his tackling. What's good, Philly girl? Philly girl, how you doing? The drafting of Jalen Hurts wasn't all that inconsistent with their past. But where they drafted him, I mean, Kolb, yes, but I mean, like the ratings, and you know what I mean? Like, I see what you're saying, Bert. I definitely see what you're saying, Birds fan. I definitely get what you're saying, but I don't know that I had a grade that high on him, to be honest. King James III said, I think JJ will be an unexpected favorite target for Wentz now that he is healthy. And if you look at catches he made, they weren't easy catches. True, but his route running was particularly bad. I'm excited to see what Aaron Wardhead does with him. I'm not. Listen, he's got a lot to prove. He does. His route running was bad, but there is talent there. I've admitted it. If I went back in 2019 before the draft and I watched film and put out a film review of JJ Arcega-Whiteside, I wouldn't have been pessimistic about him. I would have said, like, hey, man, this kid he's a contested, catch specialist. Like, this is a possession guy with, red zone capability here. He can develop into be a little more. I would have been fairly high on him. Would I have ever taken him before Metcalf? No. The Eagles were tripping on that one. But I'm not going to bury the kid. I still think the kid could technically develop. Let me see what we got here. Philly Fan D said, why do you think Peterson wanted to take Hurts? Look, man, the bottom line is that you have to have insurance policies in this league. I've heard so many theories, Philly Fan D, it's hard to get my head around it. The primary theory is they want a Taysom Hill type candidate. Jalen Hurts seems pretty opposed to being a Taysom Hill type. Wentz, look, I think Wentz is going to be fine. I'm not worried about him being injured again, but, it would behoove you to have an investment policy there, of course. And then I think the other aspect to this is that there are legitimate COVID concerns. What happens if Wentz gets sick and is down for a few weeks with COVID-19? Like, what do you do? So, I think all of it kind of plays a role. I think they also just, some kids interview well. If you've ever listened to the kid talk, he's a smart kid. I think he blew him away in an interview. Ooh, Birds fan. Good point. So I'm going to pull this one up so you guys can see it. Everyone can see it here. So Birds fan said, I wonder if Howie would have known how cheap guys like Andy Dalton signed if he would have made different decisions. Fair point. It's a fair point. It may have impacted his decision because Andy Dalton signed for next to nothing. What's hanging tough, Philly girl? I hear you. It's hot in North Carolina. You're in like Arizona, you said, right? Like, I can only imagine. This is definitely high here. Unpopular take. If Sudfeld was active in playoffs, we would have beaten the Seahawks. I don't know, Birds fan. I don't know about that, man. I'm not down on Josh McCown. I thought Josh McCown played his butt off. I thought where Josh McCown separated from Wentz was when you got to the red zone. We see what made Wentz a special player. Josh McCown drove the ball. He got us in the red zone. It's hard to execute when the field shortens. I don't know that Nate Sudfeld would have been any better in that position. I don't know that Nate Sudfeld could have drove the field the same way, to be honest. I think people might be a little hard on Josh McCown. I mean, that's a really hard ask to come in cold off the bench like that. Especially, he came off cold off the bench. He didn't have his right guard, his right tackle, okay? Missing the right side of his offensive line. Didn't have a starting X, Y, or Z receiver. I think Ertz was still, no, Ertz did play, but Ertz was banged up in that game. So, you know what I mean? Like, Miles Sanders was banged up in that game, even though he played. Like, it was less than ideal. Jalen said last time the Eagles took quarterbacks in the second with an established long-term starter was Kevin Kolb or Kafka. I don't like those picks at all. Yeah, Jalen, those were pretty bad picks, man. Definitely bad picks. Yeah, BMO, I agree. They definitely bumped their heads on that DK Metcalf JJ decision. I want to know who was watching film and legitimately thought that JJ was better. Like, who watched the film on this? Because he had a lot of college production. Like, come on, man. Like, that was nonsense, BMO. That was just straight nonsense. So Vic said, I think Hurts is not drafted if there's no pandemic. I don't know. I mean, like I said, guys, I'm not privileged to have access to the front office like that. I wish I did, but I don't know. I think it definitely played a role. Junior Alvarado said, how do we match up against the Steelers this year? Ooh, Steelers got a really good defense, guys, and Big Ben's a good player if he's back. If he's back, if he's healthy, that's a good team. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not huge on that Steelers game because we're coming back from the West Coast against San Francisco to return back to Pennsylvania to play the Steelers. I'm not huge on that one. And then we turn around on a shortened week following that game. I think we play the Giants. Like, to me, that's a pretty tough stretch of games. I think that could be a stretch of games people don't see coming that's really difficult. We take 2 out of 3 of those games, I'm really happy. Birds fan said, sorry guys. Birds fan said, didn't love the Hurts pick. Just saying that it seemed more consistent with the Eagles' philosophy. I've always felt we drafted in a strange way. Yeah, I mean, I think you have a point. I'm not denying. I think you have a point, but let's hope that he's more successful than the other guys have been. D Rose said, didn't Roseman say Nate wants to leave to start on another team after this season? Yeah, I believe he does. I think it's exactly what he wants to do, but I mean, he's got to get an opportunity. 87-81 Sixers about to be in the fourth quarter. All right, cool. New Mexico. Oh, okay, Philly girl. I got a friend. I was in a Navy with him, Philly girl. He's a reservation cop in New Mexico. He's up in like he's in the northwest corner of New Mexico. Birds fan said he did play his butt off. He just couldn't. He couldn't move. Sorry, man. After he pulled his when he pulled his hamstring, it was done. Like, so you're saying if we had someone after he pulled the hamstring, we might have been able to make a comeback, basically. Possibly. I get what you're saying. Burgang 336, good point. Dalton being from Texas probably played a role in him wanting to come back home, right? And may have given him a favorable price. It's true. That's true. That could be true. Yeah, Bima, that's kind of funny, right? The Reed's justification and then DK is everything that is, but bigger, stronger, faster. Like King James III. Sorry, let me go back up to your comment, buddy. Do you think the season we will be able to bench Carson for any remainder of games to rest because of large enough leads? No, I doubt it. Might be able to bench him week 17. I would look towards more of a running game, being able to run, extend drives, close out games, and not expose Carson to hits. I think that's more of the way they'll go. But you know what, King James? It could be very possible that if we build a double-digit lead with 4 minutes, 5 minutes left in a game, that's 2 possessions we'll probably have in our hands. They might still keep Carson on the field, but they might go really heavy Jalen Hurts just to make sure Carson's not exposed to anything crazy. They may even pull Carson and let Jalen Hurts finish it out. I don't know. Maybe run some option stuff. It's possible, man. King James, it's possible, man. You might be right. I wasn't warm on that until I really thought about it, but you might have a point there. Jimmy J said they had DK flagged for injury. Come on. Jimmy J, bro. They tripping, man. Why they went with JJ, unfortunately. Apparently, the Eagles were really scared away by DK's neck injury. What the heck? What? I mean, maybe they should have fired the medical staff thing, guys. Maybe they just weren't really good at assessing these injuries. I mean, think about the weirdness of what happened with Jordan Howard, right? To where a lot of fans are still put off to this day because they were never really transparent and clear about what happened to Jordan Howard. They made it seem like he just had a stinger when in fact he had nerve damage. He had nerve damage to his shoulder. They should have been up front and told us that. I think that so Messiah said, do I think that Nate would be able to lead a team in the NFL as a starter? To be determined, Messiah. I don't have enough film on the kid to say that. I mean, my gut instinct says bottom tier quarterback. Sure. I don't know about successful though. I got my doubts, man. I mean, look at Nick Foles. Nick Foles has not translated outside of Philadelphia. I think he's got a shot in Chicago though, because he's going to be playing a very similar system. Matt Nagy's system's got some similarities. Cashface, what's good, bro? He said, let the Bronco buck. Need to see plenty of bootlegs and movement of the pocket, being that Wentz is the best in the league on the run. Yes, sir. That's what I'm hoping, man. That's Cashface. That's what my hope is. That we wake up and realize what this kid is and let him play to his actual strengths. That's what I would like to see, but we'll see, guys. We'll definitely see what happens here, man. What's your chances of Bradley starting at linebacker? Ooh, he's got to make it first for me, one. I think he's going to make it. I think Bradley's going to make it, and that's a bit of a hot take because I don't think it's a guarantee. I think Bradley makes it, but TJ Edwards can play, guys. TJ Edwards is not a scrub. So I don't know if it would be at the mic. He might move into the mic on passing downs. I could see that. I think that Bradley could be good as a will. I do. He's fast. He's big. He's strong. He can cover and he can hold up against the run. Bradley would be a guy that if I see him starting, I would say watch Bradley as a surprise guy to beat out guys like Duke Riley and then what's his name? The kid we signed from the Chargers. I can't even think of his name, guys. It's Duke Riley and Jatavis Brown. I would say that's where I think he's got his best shot at landing. Robert Davis or Deontay Burnett for veteran presence. I like Robert Davis a lot. I don't know any of them I would consider to be a veteran though, in terms of like their years in the league. I mean, Robert Davis got a little more time in the league, but I'm going to be honest with you. Robert Davis, I think, has a very outside shot at making the roster. I can see that happening if he really balls out and really shows the guys something in camp. But I don't. I would say they're probably on the outside looking in. That's my thing I was saying, Cashface. I would love to find a way of keeping some of these guys because next year, what do you do when Alshon is probably 100% gone? Djax is probably 80 to 90% probably gone unless he really restructures his deal. Marquise Goodwin, I doubt suits back up for the Eagles. I don't think. I mean, it could happen. We still technically own his contract rights because it gets carried from this year to next. But I doubt it. So there's your 3 vets right there. So that leaves you with Rager, JJ. Rager, JJ. We got Greg Ward Jr., John Hightower, Quez Watkins, and then you would hope you get a guy like either have guys like Manasseh Bailey, Rob Davis, like those type of guys. But I mean, we'll have to see. It's crazy, man. 9 minutes to go, 93-87. What was my rate in the Navy? So Bergang, I actually I went and enlisted in something that was called GTEP. So instead of delaying instead of delaying boot camp, I got to go in right away, but I had to go undesignated until my A school opened up. I contracted in as an aviation ordnanceman, as a BB stacker. But when I reported to the ship, when they were going to send me to the A school, they were like, "You need to extend." Well, being in the Navy, Bergang, when you extend, you don't get paid. So I was like, "No, I'm not extending." And they were like, "Well, but you'll get paid in another way because what'll happen is when you graduate A school, you'll automatically be an E4." And I was like, "Cool. I could just take the test as an ABH and make E4." So I basically opted out of that, took the test ABH, and became an ABH. Like on my first try, I made E4 on my first try, man. It was pretty easy. I honestly really liked the Navy a lot. I did. It was a pretty good gig, man. Little bureaucratic though. I didn't like the hey, go do this, hey, go do that, run, get this done. And then like you're just standing there waiting forever. Like the hurry up, the wait in line crap was really annoying with them. I like the new strength and conditioning coach's attitude. Cool. I haven't really heard much about him, Junior. I don't know much about him yet. D Rose said, if Nate is leaving, then maybe it makes sense to have Hurts getting up to speed this season so he's a strong backup next year to Wentz. Yeah, D Rose, I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to definitely be the backup next year. There's no doubt about that, in my opinion. Drummer Hoff, what's good, buddy? So Philly Fan D said, if we sign another free agent, who do you think it is? Also, since Goodwin dropped out, we saved $4 million on the cap. Well, he restructured that contract to like 1 mil, 1.3 mil, 1.35, something like that. It's not quite 4. So we saved like 1.35 mil. Then he had an extra million or so he could have earned in bonuses. So we saved that money. You know what? Bradham already signed. That's who I would have said. Bradham was what I was saying. Like, keep an eye on Bradham. But he signed. He's done. McCoy signed. He's done. I would say keep your eye on a veteran contact balance back, running back, if these guys can't fill that position. Now that we're in camp, I'd say watch that. I'd say watch for a veteran pass rusher if we don't feel comfortable with the pass rush in camp. They'll quickly sign a veteran. And then the other thing I'll tell you to watch out for, Taylor Gabriel. He's got concussion concerns. He's basically the same exact player that can play the same exact role as Marquise Goodwin with the same exact concerns, right? Good player if you keep him healthy, fast, can get open. I don't know that he's necessary. I don't think that move will happen, but if we're not happy with the receiver play and we think we need a veteran, we need a guy that can stretch the field, that's who I think we would go for. You could say Paul Richardson, too, formerly of the Redskins and the Seahawks, but I think Gabriel's clearly the best guy still left out there. Hiring the Sixers medical staff was a joke move. Sports are different. Jalen said, I can't buy the Taysom Hill stuff for Jalen Hurts. If you wanted to do that, why not kick the tires on a Terrell Pryor? Yes. Yeah. Or in Logan. Yeah. I agree, Jalen. I think they have designed quarterback draws and runs and options in mind for him. I don't think you're going to see him out there catching passes, and I don't think you're going to see that. Cash Face said Ward is greater than Goodwin. BMO Careful said, who cares if Nate leaves? He can't ever get the backup job anyway. And when he does play, they run. Junior, sorry, man, it jumped up on me, buddy. Would be incredible if we landed Jamar Chase in next year. Yeah, from LSU. So Messiah said, do you expect out of our office this year? Do you expect out of our office this year? I really like what we added in the offseason, but without Marquise Goodwin, I feel like we are missing something. No, Messiah, I don't think we're missing anything, man. Have confidence, have faith, man. We got guys that can stretch it. Look, don't sleep on John Hightower's ability to really get vertical. He's got to work on the timing. He's got to work on coming down and securing the catch on the catches. He's got ability. Jalen Reagor is a contested catch machine. Don't let that kid fool you. That kid might be 5'10", 5'11". He elevates like a 6'2", 6'3" guy. He does. He's crazy athletic. Um, Listen, the best deep ball threat in the league, if he's healthy, will be on this football team in Djax. Nobody, and that includes Tyreek Hill, who I think is the better overall player. Tyreek Hill doesn't track the ball quite as well as Djax. Djax, to me, is the best receiver I've personally watched track footballs. I'm not going to say he's the best ever and all that stuff because I haven't watched film on every single guy. You know what I mean? From like previous, from the past in the 90s, the 80s. Like, I mean, to be real about it, but definitely the best I've watched personally. What's good, Murder Music? How you doing, bro? We've been talking about running backs, receivers, backup quarterbacks. I mean, we've just been kicking a little bit, talking. Ted Rath is a new strength and conditioning guy. He was with the Rams and had some legal issues, but they were dismissed. He was strength coach there in 2017. Will our O-line hold up? Vic, I think so. I think we got smarter when we brought Peters. Can play a lot of roles for the Eagles. We'll have to see how he works out at right guard. But, I mean, at least there's versatility now. At least if something happens at tackle, you can always bounce Peters out and move Pryor in. Jeff, I think Driscoll is a really good ball player too. So I think we at least got options. We at least got options. Okay, Cole, you're right. The hurry up and wait is the worst. Yeah, man, that was the worst thing, man. I hated that. I hated that crap. Especially like when they try to make something seem like it was so pressing and it was so necessary and needed, and then like you're scrambling to get it done. You're like, dude, this like seriously. Show enough, I really don't want to see Hurts in any trick plays. I want the flow of the game with Wentz to stay consistent. Yeah, I mean, it pick your show enough. I get what you're saying. Pick your timing, right? Pick your timing is when you do it, and don't disrupt the flow of the game. I get what you're saying. Birds fan said, I would say that Gabriel is better than Goodwin. Not quite as fast, but who is? But better receiver overall. I agree. I agree, Bird fan. I would like to add him personally, but honestly, we got good young guys on this roster. I would love to see get an opportunity to play. Drummer Hoff said, I believe our roster is good exactly where it is right now. Let's roll the dice and let these guys win, 13-3. So Drummer Hoff, my thing is that I think it's exactly what they're going to do, but it's more so if you're in camp, you got to look, what I'm saying? You got to look to that position. If they're not happy with the youth there, that it needs time to develop more than they expected, then I could see that kind of move happening. But I don't think it would happen unless there's a legitimate reasoning. Yeah, Djax is nasty, man. He's a nasty deep threat. Isaac Bruce was the best to track the ball. Isaac Bruce to me was decent. He could track it, BMO, no doubt, but a little more of a possession guy, kind of a Chris Carter like almost to me. Definitely has a little more vertical skill than Chris Carter did. I'm not gonna knock him to that degree, but I think he was more of a hands guy that could catch smaller and tight window stuff. That you know what I mean. I don't think that he was really the stretch guy for the Rams. He caught him. He caught some here and there, but I think that Torrey Holt when he got there and Bruce superseded Holt. When Torrey Holt got there, he was more the stretch guy for them. Are you higher on the defense or offense this year? I'm higher on the offense, but the defense, if the secondary holds up in the defense, I wouldn't even say the secondary. I think the secondary is going to hold. If the linebacking core can hold, I think it could be special. I think we could be possibly a top 10 defense. Top 10 DVOA defense. Let me be very specific as what I say. So we got King James III said, I think Eagles are going all in on Super Bowl this season. Me too. I think we match up well with Kansas City and the Ravens with new additions this offseason. Yeah, I think we can match up with anyone right now. I really do. Show enough, I don't think Randy, I disagree a little bit there, show enough. I don't think Randy Moss was exceptionally good at tracking the ball. I think Randy Moss was one of the greatest and arguably the greatest. I think you can make an argument he was the greatest at the contested catch, not tracking, contested catch. Move Isaac. Philly fan D, the only reason I would not move Isaac to the right guard is the right guard is required to anchor in our system, especially on inside zone. You really need that right guard to anchor to be successful in our inside zone. And I don't think Suamalu is strong enough to anchor on the right side. I don't. I think Peters has a much better chance at anchoring there. I would say if you're going to move Peters to left guard, then you're going to train Suamalu as your swing guard, and he's going to be training as the next center behind Kelsey one day. And I just think you play Matt Pryor at right guard, who's got the size and the strength to anchor. I'm a little confused by the trick play thought. Last year, with a lack of weapons, sorry guys, I'm trying to keep up here. We didn't have Greg Ward, a former legitimate college quarterback, throw one pass. Maybe Press will bring that element. Yeah, but I mean, Jalen Hurts is a little better of a quarterback than Greg Ward is. But Greg Ward, I think, was still trying to get his feet on him, and I think he was just so necessary to the offense. It was kind of hard to use him in that role. Shonoff said he expects the offense to average 30 points a game. Defense to be top 5. Oof. Bird fan said, would be interesting to have Ward, Hurts, and Wentz on the field at the same time. Some interesting trick play options. Who's the quarterback? Who's the quarterback? Yeah. Yeah, that would be something to see. I agree, guys. Definitely. Just hard for a player who played on the left side his whole career to move to the right. Yeah, Philly fan D. But I will point out, Peters did play right tackle for a year. So he's got some experience playing the right side. He's definitely going to struggle, though, Philly fan D. Your point is still taken. He's going to struggle because everything will be in the opposite. Your dominant foot, your dominant hand, it's all going to be in the opposite of what you're used to. So he's going to have to get acclimated. But I mean, he's just such a freak, man. I think he can do it. He's such a freak. I'm more so concerned if he can hold up to the physicality of playing inside. You know what I mean? Junior said, who do you think the starting receivers will be week 1? And do you think it'll fluctuate throughout the year? Junior, I definitely think it'll fluctuate throughout the year. Starting receivers, I'm just going to go with the very obvious here. And obvious meaning not that it's going to happen, just obvious to predict without seeing camp right now. JJ as your X, Ward as your Y, Djax as your Z, and then Rager will be a guy that kind of bounces around, gets a lot of snaps as your 4th off the bench, with Hightower probably playing a handful of snaps here and there, being able to play on that X. I do think that they have plans to potentially work Quez Watkins in the slot. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I think Philly fan D, I think it was like his 2nd year in the league, something like that. It was really early on. But look, Philly fan D, your point still stands. That was like over 10 years ago. Like, it was a long time ago. And your point still stands because it's going to be different. Your dominant leg, your dominant hand, everything changes when you change sides. So he's going to have to acclimate. There's no doubt about that. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all tuning in, guys. I'm about to wrap it up, guys. I got to get some stuff done myself. I got to get some things planned. Before I jump off, just a few things, and I'll read a couple of your comments before I jump off to you guys. But what I'll say is this, guys. I have a video coming up tomorrow that is the community post video. So these are the video where you guys called in and left me a voicemail message. That will premiere tomorrow. I will put that video out tomorrow for you guys to listen to. And then Monday, I plan on releasing my Grayland Arnold video, okay? So tomorrow is going to be the the community stated, questions. That'll be tomorrow. If you guys want to submit questions for that for next week, the phone number is 336-618-7767. I'll say it again, guys. That's 336. So the area code's 336. And then it's 618-7767, guys. All right. That's how you can submit those questions for me to answer for you guys. Okay. If you're tuning in late, guys, if you want to become a member of the community, and guys, don't worry, my content will not change. Whether you become a member of the community or not, I will give you the same effort and the same exact kind of content. I'm just doing some extra things and releasing some extra things for guys that become community members. Okay. So if you want to join the community, guys, all you got to do is go to my profile page, Gate City Sports, or just X out of the conversation. And then when you close out of the conversation, just hit the join button, guys. I set up 4 different tiers. There's some for guys that want personal coaching. There's some that want mentorship. If you want to start a YouTube channel, there's a higher tier for that. I tried to make it really affordable, though, compared to what other people would charge for that. Be more careful. Appreciate the super chat, buddy. And then there's a tier for advanced analytics and stats, and then personal videos, where you guys will get, members of that community will get private videos that no one else gets to see. And then there's a third tier that's more just like, being able to come in, do community supported stuff with me, to where we'll have discussions. We'll have the, big discussion things like that, where we'll do one-on-ones with everybody. And then there's just the general support tier. It's just a really cheap tier. Just, hey, man, I just want to give you a buck or two, you know what I mean, and move on. I got that tier set up, guys. I appreciate anyone that joins at any level, guys. It's really look, guys, I appreciate the crap out of y'all. A lot of y'all have been hanging around for a long time, rocking with me, guys. I appreciate it, guys. I really do, guys. You guys are the best, man. This has been really fun doing this stuff, guys, and I plan on doing this every Saturday. So, all right, let me go through just a couple questions real quick, guys. Oh, Pacers back up by 3. That sucks. I was just about to jump off to go see. Peters is a freak strength-wise. I think he will be okay. Do you think they will go with a rotation approach at wide receiver like the D-line? BMO, I do. I definitely think you're going to see a rotation. I think the two guys that you'll see heavy in the rotation will be John Hightower, and then, of course, Jalen Reagor is going to play a lot. Only concern I have with Peters is him getting rolled under and hurt. Exactly, Birds fan, me too. Him not having to worry about getting beat by speed rushers, yeah, that'll be good for him. Jalen said the switch side thing is a bit overblown. It's weird from the start, but after 3 weeks of doing it consistently, muscle memory takes over. Backups are trained, play both on a regular basis. Guys, Jalen having experience playing the line, so he's giving you a perspective of the length of time it takes to build the muscle memory to switch sides. He's saying true rotation being, true practices in roughly 3 weeks or so. Bird fan, appreciate it, buddy. D Rose, peace out, buddy. Yeah, I agree, sure enough. All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Peace out. Like I said, tomorrow, the community supported questions and answers will be out. Monday, Graylin Arnold, guys. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all later. Bye, guys. This is all